Kevin, you can go.
That's a new one. That is a new one.
To which
She's hilarious.
Good evening and welcome to the November 18, 2024 Spalding County Board of Commissioners Extraordinary Session. The time is 6 p.m. and I would please request that you please silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices. I would like to ask the board to consider amending the agenda this evening to administratively add the public hearing sections already on the agenda this evening for each of the following: Application 2316S, Application 2410V, Application 2434Z, Application 2423S, Proposed Text Amendment to the Spalding County Code of Ordinances, New Appendix N, Abandoned Cemetery and Burial Ground Protection Ordinance, and the new alcohol license application for retail sale of beer and wine for the following: Nicole Brownlee for Cleveland Food Market, located at 928 North 9th Street, Griffin, Georgia. Do I have a motion to amend?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Motion has been, the agenda has been changed. I would ask that Commissioner Dutton at this time offer the invocation, followed by Commissioner Bolden to lead us in the pledge of the flag.
Please join us in prayer tonight. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we're so grateful to be here tonight with this wonderful community and our wonderful friends and fellow citizens of Spalding County. Father, we're grateful for the community that we live in, the opportunities that we have to serve each other, the wonderful country that we live in. Father, we're grateful for the opportunity that we have to live in such a time as this. Father, we ask a blessing over this community, that it will continue moving in a way pleasing to Thee, that the people who live here will be protected, sheltered by Thy angels and Thy Spirit, that we can know Thy will in our lives, be guided by that Spirit, and grow closer to Thee. Father, we thank You for the atonement of Jesus Christ and for His love that we each individually can feel every day. And it is in His name, the name of our Savior Jesus Christ, that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Would please join me in pledge allegiance to our flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. Do I have a motion to enter public hearing for application 23-16S? Iris Hernandez, owner, 2160 Rocky Creek Road, approximately 3.08 acres, located in land lot 172 of the 3rd Land District. The applicant is requesting a special exception to operate an event center for private parties. The property is currently zoned AR1, agriculture and residential. Do I have a motion to enter into a public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. We're now in public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to consolidate that with the next application and then for hearing and then vote separately?
Yes. Thank you.
We need a
You
second.
need to amend them,
yeah.
redo the motion.
I make a motion that we consolidate those two and go into public hearing for both.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. We're in public hearing for two motions. All right. Dr. Ledbetter?
Yes, sir. First up this evening for the public hearing is John Taylor. If you would, please step forward and state your name and your address for the record, please.
My name is John Taylor. It's 2160 Rocky Creek Road. Sorry, it's my first time. Do I just get started or?
Yeah.
Just go ahead. You-
Cool. So I'm just here to speak my piece on the permit. So I am the owner of Soccer Stars of South Atlanta. We also do Amazing Athletes. So our piece in this, this is my wife's family. It's my relation to all of this. Is summer camps. So I want to get the permit because obviously I need to get the zoning correct first, and then I have to go through the rest of the process of the state to get it approved. But I would really, my vision is to run summer camps. So we got about 7 different elementary schools within 12 minutes of that location. So we currently already operate with preschools. We partner with different schools. We partner with different soccer clubs. It's all about education. It's always about fun. It's all about nutrition. You know, all the fun stuff we want our kids to enjoy. So for me, getting this permit approved and allowing that ability to be able to provide a service for the kids where they can have something fun when school's out of session is what I'm here for that piece. We are already partnered with Henry County Parks and Recs. We already work with the community and we work with partnerships. So that's kind of where I'm at. I want to bring that to our community. It also would be a great community impact because obviously during those summer times we'll be able to have high school students as not volunteers, but assistants is what I'm trying to say. So it provides jobs, and also for parents it provides one more outlet that's a little bit not so far away. That's a little bit closer to where they're already used to going, where they can actually bring their kids and we can have equestrian, horse riding lessons, stuff like that incorporated in. And it's a great experience. So that's my vision.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mark Holmes.
Good evening, my name is Mark Holmes, I'm from 215 Boynton Road. I'm here tonight to speak against the proposed variance and event center. Our concerns are, and we have discussed earlier with the planning and zoning as well, is noise, additional noise in the area. There've been several events at this location, not pertained as an event center, but just for personal use as well, that have been very noisy. We also are concerned with increased traffic in the area. That portion of Rocky Creek, Jordan Hill is already a very busy road. It's basically a thoroughfare especially like from Sun City, Peachtree going over to the McDonough area. So it's already very busy. We don't want to add any more traffic. It was originally purchased as a residence, and now they're looking to create even more in the area. We also we're concerned about negative value on our property because it can become a very noisy and very, if it's open to the general public. I mean, this isn't family functions. They're talking about having an event center so that they can go public with it and bring in other events. We're concerned about increase in litter in the area, and also concerned that some of these events may or will have alcohol served, whether it's by the catering company that does an event or whether it's something that they do themselves. And we're concerned about having additional traffic on the street after events. Nobody there necessarily to keep anybody off the street. So therefore somebody could be, if they overindulge a little bit and come driving through our neighborhood, then that's a security issue for us. It just brings other outside people. We've lived there since 1998. This is a place that we built back then, and we literally are looking to retire there if possible. It's a nice, quiet community. We know most of the neighbors around close by, and it has been a quiet residential community, and that's why we moved to the country. That's what we want to keep. We don't want this to become an area where we've got additional events going on till 10 o'clock at night And that's basically my biggest concern is noise and security. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes, and thank you for your email. It's very articulate. Thank you.
Vicky Holmes.
Hello,
Good evening.
how's everybody? My name is Vicki Holmes. I live at 215 Boynton Road. My husband was Mark. He said that we've lived out there since 1998. I've lived out there for 61 years. We were one of the first families that built out there. All the roads were dirt roads. My dad would take his tractor when it would rain and pull some of the other families out. So I've been around there a long time. I've hunted around there, fished around there, killed turkeys, killed deer. It's our little piece of heaven. We're concerned about the alcohol, especially now if there's going to be children involved. But I know that they had talked about it at the last meeting, that there would be alcohol involved and served. That is a great concern of mine, and especially if there's going to be children involved. It is our sanctuary out there. It's quiet. It's a rural country area. We are out there to retire, so we're not partiers. That is, Ms. Hernandez said that is their culture, but it is not our culture. And we just want to keep the peace and quiet and safety for our neighbors and for ourselves. And we just like it to stay. We want growth, but we would like to have like-minded families to come and want to raise their children in a rural area away from all the chaos. And I believe if this event center was to open, it would bring chaos. Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Holmes.
Jim and Carrie Smith.
Evening.
Good evening.
We're the Smiths. We live at 986 Hillview. We're kind of the newbies there. We've only been there 21, 22 years. We moved there because it was peaceful, quiet. We knew the home and her family. And our intent was to live there, retire, and enjoy the deer that run through our yard, the turkeys, the quietness. And that's what I would like to see remain. And I appreciate you considering our conversation.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am?
We all have grandchildren now and great-grandchildren, and so they're enjoying our land and running around. And we have seen a lot of trucks hauling trees, different things, and the bigger this gets, the more unsafe for our grandchildren, great-grandchildren to play in our yard, which all of our grandkids did. So we really want to keep a quiet, safe neighborhood.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jennifer Pettis.
Hey, my name's Jennifer Pettis. I live at 1179 North Pomona Road in Hampton, Georgia. Pretty much the same as everybody else. My husband and I bought this property when we were very young. We built our home there 24 years ago. We've raised our children. We now have grandchildren, pretty much like everybody else that has spoke. We love it there. I'm not looking forward to an event center being a mile from our home. In the last meeting that we had, she literally said that they did not buy that property with the intent to have an event center. What the gentleman said today, I believe, contradicts that when he was talking about his dream of having the soccer and all of those things. I mean, I think we have a lot of those things in our community already. I'm not saying that there's not room for one more, but just not in the area that we're in. Also, it was compared to Mystic Acres. Mystic Acres is not in the middle of a residential area. I had a son that was married there 2 years ago, and I'm very familiar with it. It's a beautiful place. It's a wonderful wedding venue or party venue, but it's not in a residential area. People are not backed up to that property like there are on Boynton Road and Rocky Creek in North Pomona. Anyway, we love the area that we live in. We don't want to move, but it has been said by my husband that if this were to happen, we would sell and move. I don't want to do that because this is my dream home. I've raised my children there. We have memories, and I want my grandchildren to come there and enjoy their home too. And, you know, I don't know about everybody else that lives in that area, but I do know me and the people that have come here to speak. We love where we live. We moved to the country for a reason. We're far enough away from everybody or everything, but we're also close enough to where we can get to McDonough, Griffin, Fayetteville, wherever we want to go in a timely manner, but still be in our country.
Sorry.
I appreciate you listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jasmine Taylor.
My name is Jasmine Taylor, 2160 Rocky Creek Road. So my family owns this land. My dad built it himself. Every day and night he's been out there. So kind of want to address some of the concerns our neighbors have. We've actually tried to go talk to them to address those concerns already. We are planning to close out our event center because we are worried about the noise. We don't want anybody to be, bothered by it. I work at a building facility, BFS, Builders First Source. Been there for 10 years. I have quotes that I could send you that we're going to have noise-bearing windows, doors, and insulation to make sure the noise does not get out of the banquet hall. I think my sister emailed you guys, I don't know who, the plans that the engineer built up for closing out the banquet hall so the noise will not be a problem. Traffic. As somebody stated, we've had some events there, our events. We have a big family. We've never had problem with traffic. I go by that road every day to pick up my child from my parents' house. There's never traffic there. And then also security. Every event that we've had, even family, well, they've been family events, we've had a sheriff and security officers there. We will continue to have that because our main priority is safety. Yes, this was eventually, first started off as a resident for my parents, but we wanted to build it to share with the community and, to help out with semi-expenses. But again, it won't be every weekend because my parents live there. They like peace and quiet as well. It is very much safe. My parents have 4 grandchildren, 2 of my own, and my dad made sure it's safe for them. So whatever is safe for their kids, their grandkids is safe for every child. Alcohol will not be served during the summer camps that my husband was talking about. The summer camps will be during the day. Horseback riding, soccer, every multi-sport. We were going to offer it to everybody that would like to come and participate. Offer jobs to teenagers for counseling. Give them that opportunity. The alcohol would be obviously for events, and they have to be catered in. There has to be permits. And every event that we've had that's been personal, we've followed the rules. We've gotten our permits. And I understand it has been noisy, and we deeply apologize for that, and we're trying to rectify that by closing it out and giving us that opportunity to make it better. And again, we just don't want to bother anybody. That's why the land sits on 30 plus acres. There's more than enough space for people to parking. So Rocky Creek Road would not be used as parking. Any trash would be left on our land if there's trash. And again, if there's anything that's concerning safety about alcohol, we have a sheriff that will be hired in every event, and we put it in our contracts. So I just wanted to make sure you guys know that we do live there, and we do want to have, we be neighborly. We don't want to have enemies. So again, we're trying to make it so we're all peaceful and happy and not cause any concerns.
Mr. Chair, no one else has signed up.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion closed.
Second.
And a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. We're out of public hearing for that one. Just a minute. Make sure I.
You're on number 3, sir.
Do I have a motion to enter the public hearing for application 24-34Z, Samantha Langston, 24 23rd North McDonough Road, Griffin, Georgia, approximately 7.15 acres, located in land lot 112 of the Second Land District. The applicant is requesting to rezone from R2 Single Family Residential District to AR1 Agricultural Residential to be used property for agricultural purposes. Do I have a motion to go in? Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, we're in public hearing.
Mr. Chair, no one has signed up for this public hearing.
Motion to come out of public hearing.
Do I have a motion to come out of public and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, we're out of public hearing for that one. Do I have a motion to enter public hearing for application 24-23S, Dusty Davis, applicant 2539 North Expressway, approximately 9.15 acres, located in land lot 102 of the 3rd Land District. The applicant is requesting a special exception for semi-truck dealership. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Dr. Ledbetter?
Mr. Chair, no one has signed up for this, this hearing.
Motion to come out of public.
I have a motion to come out. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. We're out of public hearing for that one. Do I have a motion to enter public hearing for a proposed text amendment to the Spalding County Code of Ordinances, new Appendix N, Abandoned Cemetery and Burial Ground Protection Ordinance?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 4. All opposed?
No,
Excuse me. 5. Thank you. All right. Do we have anybody to sign up for that?
Mr. Chair, no one has signed up for this hearing.
All right. Thank you. Do I have a motion to come out of public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, we're out of that public hearing. Do I have a motion to enter into public hearing for the new alcohol license application for retail sales of beer and wine for the following location? Nicole Brownlee for Cleveland Food Mart, located at 928 North 9th Street, Griffin, Georgia. Do I have a motion to go into a public hearing?
Can we do public hearings on all the alcohol
Yeah.
at the same time?
That's
No,
just
that's-
what we have to
we
do.
don't have, this is the only one.
Okay.
It's a new one.
Just make sure that we're gonna.
Thank you.
Yeah, so moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Motion carries. We're in public hearing.
Mr. Chair, no one has signed up for this hearing.
Motion to come out.
I have a motion to come out. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. We're out of public hearing. Presentation and financial statement. I'd ask the Deputy County Manager and Financial Director, Ms. Erica Dye, to present the financial statements for the month ending October 31st, 2024.
What do you think? What do you think?
Welcome.
Good evening.
There-
The following presentation will summarize the county's financial activities for fiscal year 2025 as of October 31st. At the end of October 31st, 4 months have passed in the present fiscal year, which accounts for 33.33% of the budget. General fund revenues are $9.3 million, which is 14% of the budget. General fund expenditures and encumbrances total $22 million, which accounts for 31% of the budget. Fire district revenues are $4 million, which accounts for 34% of the fire fund. Fire district expenditures are $2.5 million, and encumbrances for the fire district are $5.7 million. Total accounts for 71% of the budget. As of October 31st, revenues have increased by 10% compared to the previous month, but expenditures rose by only 4%. Most county expenditures exceed revenue in October due to the timing of revenue collections and the ongoing nature of expenses. Sorry, I'm having issues with the slides. The summary of revenue sources for October: the county collected a total of $4.9 million in taxes, which account for 52.3% of the total revenue received. These taxes include real property tax, current and previous year, interest and penalty on real and personal property, public utility tax, motor vehicle ad valorem, tag and title fees for personal property. Also included is the local option sales tax, alcohol, business occupation tax, and also railroad equipment tax. Intergovernmental revenues total $1.7 million, comprising of 18.2% of total revenue reported. These revenues are from local, state, and federal sources, including the real estate transfer tax, the Georgia Highway Safety and COPS grant, Performance Partnership Award, VOCA grant, Accountability Court grants, DOT reimbursements, FEMA, Boost, and other grants. The county collected $1.2 million, or 11.5%, in charges for services for October, including fees from probate and magistrate court, adult probation and supervision fees, inmate housing, medical, clothing reimbursements for both the CI and the Sheriff's Department, animal control revenue, recreation fees, scrap iron sales, state tax collection fees, and also recording fees. For fines and forfeitures, the county generated $621,000, or 13.4% of total revenue, which accounts for superior, state, magistrate, clerk of court fees, victim assistance, and drug abuse court fines. Miscellaneous revenue collected for October was $468,000, or 6.6%, which includes income from resource officer reimbursements, CI and Sheriff's Department inmate phone commission, inmate store commission, CI detail reimbursement, motor coach trips, also the sale of surplus property and equipment, and spay and neuter fees. For license and permits, which includes business, alcohol, building, sewer inspection, zoning and subdivision, and also permit and pistol license, accounts for $340,000, or 3.6%. Contributions and donations account for $7,200, and investment income account is $66,000 for revenues as of October 31st, or 0.8% of the budget. The summary of expenditures and encumbrances: employee salaries and benefits and FICA taxes account for 51.91%, or $11.4 million of our total expenditures. Expenditures for purchases and contractual services such as radio and computer equipment, software, office equipment, maintenance, travel, legal fees, dues and subscriptions, education and training, election expense, telephone postage, and auto truck maintenance amounts to $6.7 million of the total expenditures. Supplies, which include your office and departmental supplies, utilities, uniforms, and fuel and small equipment, account for 7.4%, or $1.6 million of the total expenditures. Capital outlay accounts for 4.4%, or $960,000, which includes supplies and materials for Airport Road Playground, the Master Park Plan, vehicles, park machinery, and equipment. And other costs account for 4% for October, or $892,000. This includes various park repairs and supply reimbursement, our T-Splosh paving and sidewalks, our Cigna flexible spending account, the street lights, the Griffin Spalding Development Authority, the Griffin Airport, the Forestry Service, the Public Safety Training Center, the Griffin Spalding Archives, Health Department, and the library. Debt service includes our enterprise vehicles, principal and interest, and other leases and capital leases, principal and interest, such as our heavy equipment like our compact track loaders, skid steers. All of this accounts for 1.5%, or $340,000. And lastly, the total balance of all of the bank accounts for Spalding County is $45 million. The total balance of $45 million across all checking and investment accounts in Spalding County represents the combined financial assets held by the county. This figure reflects the county's economic activity, savings, and investment levels during the month of October. And I'd be happy to answer any of your questions you may have.
Any questions by the commissioners?
No questions. I have a question for Steve. Just curiosity, because I know you sent us the text last week about the fire pump that actually went out. That's going to be next year's budget, correct? Repair. Have we had any unexpected expenses that has occurred this year since we've approved the budget?
The pumper that had to go back for repairs was one of those unexpected events, yes, ma'am.
Do we have any idea how much that is?
You have the numbers. I think we got them today for the vehicle that went back to Alabama for repair. I believe it was roughly $23,000 to repair that vehicle.
That's correct.
That wasn't a new building, a new,
No, ma'am.
vehicle?
No, ma'am. That vehicle has reached its life expectancy and is due for replacement when we receive our next fire engine, which will be sometimes mid-2025.
Correct.
You need to approve this.
That would be nice. If you would, please approve the.
All right, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Dye. Item number 6, presentations and proclamations. I would ask Dr. Ledbetter to read the proclamation for WKEU Day, December 2nd, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Proclamation recognition December 2, 2024 as WKEU Day. Whereas WKEU Radio has been a vital part of our community since its inception, beginning broadcast on December 2, 1934, and has for 90 years provided our county with timely news, important information, and the best in music and entertainment. And whereas WKEU has steadfastly supported our community's interests and values, earning a lasting place in the hearts and minds of generations, while serving as a pillar of connection and communication for our residents. And whereas Mr. Bill Taylor, the longtime owner of WKEU, has exemplified a commitment to public service and community enrichment throughout his years of dedication to this station, providing quality programming and fostering a spirit of community pride and unity. And whereas Mr. Taylor, who is now facing health challenges, has given himself selflessly to serve and honor this community, and it is fitting to recognize his legacy while he can feel the appreciation of those he has touched. And whereas December 2, 2024 marks the 90th anniversary of WKEU service to our community, making it an especially fitting occasion to honor both the station's legacy and Mr. Taylor's contribution. Now therefore be it resolved that on December 2, 2024, Spalding County hereby recognizes this day as WKEU Day in honor of the 90th anniversary of WKEU and the dedication of its longtime owner, Mr. Bill Taylor. We encourage all residents to join us in recognizing and celebrating the legacy of WKEU and the invaluable contributions of Mr. Taylor. Signed, Clay W. Davis, Chairman, Spalding County Board of Commissioners.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Do we have a group here?
I believe
Absolutely
you have
we
someone
do.
in the audience here this evening, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely we do.
Come on. Everybody gets to come, so come on. Everybody gets to come, come on. All gonna come up here. Larry's gonna line us up.
I'm not getting a picture.
Oh, no, oh, yeah, you are.
Last time I did pictures, it was America's Most Wanted, and
Am I in the right place? Okay, come on up here, sir. All right, everybody. Good. Good, good. Yes, yes. All right, come on. You can't see Larry, he can't see you. Take a picture.
That's good. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Do we have any family members that can take pictures or anything?
I would like to say one thing, that WKU has a strong legacy of support to the community. It always has. When I retired from the military about 35 years ago, I decided to buy the radio station where I worked as a child and when I was in high school. And there's no regrets from it, and I hope that we have served the community well. I have the best sons in the world that can help me operate the thing, and they are now in charge of it. But I wanted to thank you personally for this wonderful, noteworthy event of giving us this for WKU. Allen Marshall Sr. started the station in 1934. And from there until then, it's been a local operation with local news, and we hope it'll be that way for another 100 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And let me just add one other quick thing. I'm Tony Browski. I'm the sports director, and I handle a lot of the day-to-day operations now. When we lost Kathy Gibson, I thought, boy, oh boy, am I going to go to blazes and getting information about the county. Well, Erica Dye and Reagan Jones, spot on. Y'all did a great job. Thank y'all very much.
Yeah, I want to thank WKU for sponsoring my championship baseball team all those years ago when I was a little kid. So that's what communities do. You know, local-owned businesses. You know, you might could get that a little cheaper on Amazon or from Temu or something, but they're not going to sponsor your baseball team. WKU will.
Item number 2, I would ask that the Leisure Service Director, Kelly Carmichael, to share with us the GRPA awards presented to the Parks and Leisure Services Department for 2024.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to recognize these amazing professionals who serve our community at the highest levels. We recently returned from the GRPA, Georgia Recreation and Park Association State Conference, and we have 9 awards to share with you today. We will start with our district awards, and want to make you aware that out of Fairmont Community Center, our event of the year from District 4 is Fairmont's Breakfast with Santa. Renee Simon and her staff are here. Additionally, they also won Program of the Year for their Boost grant-funded Summer Pop program.
Very good.
On the district level, Robbie Milner was recognized with the district's highest recognition as Distinguished Professional. Lisa Crapo, who unfortunately couldn't be with us this evening, she received the recognition of Outstanding Support Staff on the district level. Spalding County Aquatic Center was recognized as the district's Project of the Year. And finally, we were recognized on the district level as Class A Agency of the Year for Parks and Leisure Services. I'm going to continue on with the state recognitions, and then we'll assemble for one picture. Okay? In Columbus, Georgia, at the state conference, our aquatic center was recognized, and this is the first time the state has awarded a Project of the Year. Our beautiful aquatic center was recognized as State Project of the Year. And Distinguished Administrative Support Staff, state level, Megan Quinlan. And additionally, Robbie Milner was also recognized again at the state level as the Athletic Aquatic Network Distinguished Professional of the Year. As you know, we're an incredibly hardworking group of people, and we serve with passion, and our motto is empowering people to thrive, and that's what we do every day. Everything that we do is for our community, for our citizens, for health and wellness, from the youngest to the oldest. Please join me in saying thank you so much for the hard work you do every day.
Everyone, what counties are in the area that our district is?
District 4 includes, and I'll do my best to remember all the communities, 29 communities. So that includes South Fulton, Clayton, Carroll County, Heard County, Fayette County, Lamar County. We're the furthest
Meriwether,
east.
Troop.
Meriwether, Troop, yeah, that's the farthest.
Yeah.
No, that's
No,
District
not Warner
6.
Robins. So it's more of here to the state
Towards
line.
west.
And from Carroll County all the way down to Harris County. So it's
Yes.
all the counties
Yes.
in the middle part of Georgia. They did a great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll shake hands before we get the pictures, so I don't lose sight of some of you. This is wonderful. Thank you. Robbie, God, Dusty, can't have enough. Sideways slightly a little bit. Have your plaques turned out? Yes. All right. All right. Larry to her first. Dr. Brooke, you got everybody? I do. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Now look at me.
All right, this is for the papers, not it.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
And a big thank you to Kelly for running leisure services.
Kelly, could you just stay there and give us an
Yes.
update? Okay, thank you. I didn't put you in the back. At this time, I'd like to ask Kelly Carmichael to remain at the podium and provide us an update on our Legacy Museum milestones.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity to bring you up to speed on where we are with this project and our plans for the next several months. Okay? The purpose of our Legacy Museum is for it to become a space where future generations of all backgrounds will learn of their shared heritage and discover what they can achieve together. Okay, did I hit the wrong one?
Yes. It goes the opposite way.
Opposite way.
Thank you. Okay, so our soft opening, as you know, was held October 19 of 23. Since then, we've been working to build a community of trust, learning local history makers, and working on oral histories and many other areas of that. We've had a very hardworking and committed steering committee of stakeholders that have been meeting regularly, some of them weekly, to work through the stories that are to be presented and the narratives that will be displayed and shared with our community upon project opening. Our exhibit design team, Cooper Carey and Building 4 have been working alongside us, guiding us through the processes of building a museum. We've never built a museum before, so this has been quite a learning experience, but they're a phenomenal, highly respected company out of Atlanta that's worked extremely well with us. We have been also securing and cataloging artifacts to be displayed. We've been working to engage alumni and stakeholders. The steering committee has been driving the overarching exhibit design and conceptual plans. The exhibit-focused work group has been meeting weekly. They are driving exhibit topics, connecting alumni to feature narratives. They've been personally managing the list of oral histories that we've been recording and transcribing. We have 59 oral histories completed and 42 yet to be scheduled around the schedules of those members of the community that we've been working with. We've been also coordinating recorded interviews with each alumni. The Alumni Connection, we've been facilitating communication with all Fairmont alumni classes. There are several that meet regularly, and we've been working closely with them to ensure that we are communicating directly with those classes so they know where the project is at all times. Staff has been working very diligently on public engagement, hosting public events, including art shows. A local artist has installed a permanent feature in the museum. Recently held S'mores Stories and Stars event, bringing the community in on a drizzly evening to roast marshmallows and hear local history stories. We were a site for the luncheon event with Joe McGill and Herb Frazier, authors of Sleeping with the Ancestors, in cooperation with the Griffin Spalding Historic Society. And we're showcasing local Black artists at our art shows and exhibits. Additionally, research is one of the largest, it's the elephant in the room. You have to take one bite at a time, and it is a massive undertaking to conduct the research to ensure that we are showcasing the very factual stories and history of our community. And this involves going to archives, Clayton State, going to Atlanta, going to other archives to make sure that what we're presenting is factual. Creating the actual written narrative that will be shared in the museum, creating storyboards, transcribing recordings. Partnership development is a tremendous piece of this project. On the local level, staff have been working with, as I mentioned earlier, Fairmont Alumni Association, the EPI, the Griffin Area Arts Alliance, Griffin Spalding Historic Society, and Griffin Spalding County Schools. On the state level, partnership development with the Georgia Historic Preservation Division of DCA,
Rosenwald schools, we're working collaborative connection on state level, making sure we connect with all other Rosenwald schools that are in our great state. Clayton State University, State Archives, also the Georgia Association of Museums, as well as collaborating with the African Diaspora Museology Initiative. We're working towards a temporary exhibit, traveling exhibit through that organization in the near few months. On the national level, we've been working with Dorothy Cantor of the Julius Rosenwald National Park campaign. She has been to our community. She's coming back to do a story and to meet with Haley, our curator, for a detailed story. Also working with Southeast Museum Conference and the American Association and State of Local History. We're marketing things to get the word out, creating swag and great things to give away and purchase. Our website, ourlegacymuseum.com, as well as social media. We were also featured in the Charlotte Post under an article, "This Georgia Town Leans into Black History and Tourism." We're also connected with our local tourism boards. Okay, it's not advancing. Oh, there it goes. Some of the interactives that we're going to be including in the museum feature our famous athletes that have come from our community, Wyoming Attias, Rayfield Wright, doing photo ops with our local black churches who played a critical role during the civil rights movement, a Fairmont Locker memorial display, military memorials, and building materials touch wall. Upcoming events, our winter art show, a Kwanzaa feast, tree planting fundraiser, steering committee holiday event, historic marker and brick installation reveal. We partnered with the Jewish American Society of Historic Preservation, who donated a bronze historical marker for our Rosenwald School. And then our grand opening, we're planning towards 2025. These are some schematics of 25% of what had been received this summer. These are some schematic designs of some of the classrooms. And I'm just kind of going through this quickly in essence of time. Brings us to our current place. Right now, we are in schematic design for 20 weeks. And that is as advised by Cooper Carey. It will then go to construction documents. That's where Building 4 steps in. And then Building 4 also does the fabrication. And our goal is installation in November of 2025. Are there any questions?
Wow.
There's a lot going on. And the challenge, you manage this like a construction project. So, but in this case, many of the things that are happening are things you cannot see. And so just know that there's a lot of hard work going on. We have a very invested community and can't wait to open these doors.
Any questions for her?
It's really great.
Thank you, Kelly. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I've been able to bring them up to speed on our hopes to get us tied in for more of that family history stuff nationally. So,
Item number 7, citizen comments. Speakers must sign up prior to the meeting and provide their names, addresses, and the topic they wish to discuss. Speakers must direct your comments to the board and not to individual members or to the audience. Personal disagreements with individual members or county employees are not a matter of public concern, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. The chairman has the right to limit your comments in the interest of disposing of the county's business in an efficient and respectful manner. Speakers will be allocated 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to the matters pertaining to the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. No questions will be asked by any of the members during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. No speakers will be permitted to speak more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the board votes to suspend this rule. Dr. Ledbetter, has someone signed up for the speak this evening?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Bruce Ledbetter, if you would step forward and state your name and your address for the record, please.
Bruce Ledbetter, 240 Roberts Street.
Welcome back.
Well, I'm here to congratulate you tonight. The park, Airport Road, the track and the park looks beautiful. But $500,000, I don't know. I appreciate that, but the money hurts. Another thing, I just graduated from the Citizens Government Academy for Griffin, Georgia, last Friday, a week ago. And y'all need to get on the ball. That needs to happen. We need a Spalding County Academy. Also, for the guys that work for the electrical department, we hope everybody's praying for their family. Because the night we were at the electrical department, the guy that got killed helped me put on the harness to get in the bucket truck. And it's kind of close to home for me. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ledbetter.
Ms. Brandy Baird.
Hello, Brandy Byard, 135 Bethany Road. I'm here just to be a reminder, thorn, or whatever you see fit, to remind everybody that I am asking for our District 4 to you all to vote and deny the commercial zoning in our district. And since seeing the agenda, I have questions too of the $550,000 going to the sheriff department for new vehicles, and then why would we donate another vehicle? Why not offset the cost and things like that? The other thing, as I'm sitting here, I see other citizens are here kind of in the same boat that we are in with zoning and everything, and then you hear how people pleading for the fact of where they chose to live and how they bring up their kids and things like that. I'm pretty sure you would have a packed house as you did with us if they were not doing an event center or soccer or whatever they said, and if it was actually a truck stop convenience store right in the middle of their neighborhood. You would have a lot more very worried and upset citizens. So I'm asking you all, the board, just to remember that you are here for your citizens and you should speak for the citizens and not these developers that come in and just want to take someone's actual rural living and peaceful life away from them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, no one else has signed up this evening.
Thank you. I would like to read all three for the record and vote on the three for the minutes at one time. That's okay. Okay, thank you. Number one, consider approval of the October 7th, 2024 workshop and regular session minutes. Number two, consider approval of the minutes for the October 21, 2024 extraordinary session. And number three, consider approval of the October 24, 2024 Board of Commissioners zoning public minutes. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes for each of the meetings?
Motion to approve. Yeah,
Do I have a motion and a second? Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Item number 9, consent agenda. Dr. Ledbetter, would you please read for the items listed on the current consent agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Consideration for the 2025 alcohol renewal. Consider approval of the following. The 2025 alcohol renewal for retail sale of beer and wine for 3425 Jackson Road with no violations. Consider approval of the following 2025 alcohol renewal for retail sale of beer and wine for Shukat Sundruden for Prince Food Mart located at 3425 Jackson Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223. Number two, the 2025 alcohol renewal. Consider approval for the following. The 2025 alcohol renewal for retail sale of beer and wine for 1779 Zebulon Road with no violations. This is a 2025 alcohol renewal for retail sale of beer and wine for Yasmin Yawani for Buddy's Food Station located at 1779 Zebulon Road, Griffin, Georgia 30224. Consider approval of the 2025 alcohol renewal for retail sale of beer and wine for 1735 Zebulon Road, no violations. This is the 2025 alcohol renewal for retail sale of beer and wine for Philip Beckler for Ingalls located at 1735 Zebulon Road, Griffin, Georgia. Number four, consider approval of the 2025 alcohol renewal for retail sale of beer and wine for 7652 Highway 16 with no violations. This is the 25 alcohol renewal for retail sale of beer and wine for Richard Corbin for Huckabee's located at 7652 Highway 16 West, Brooks, Georgia 30205. Number five is consider approval of the 2025 alcohol renewal for Package Store for 2004 North Expressway with no violations. This is the 25 alcohol renewal for Package Store for VJ Patel for V and Sons located at 2004 North Expressway, Griffin, Georgia 30225.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have some questions. I know this is a consent agenda, but my question is, why is it that some of these don't have any reference to whether or not they're a violation?
They're in sets of two. I thought that as well. So like this is the.
There are no violations for any of these.
But they're all renewals, aren't they?
They are.
So if they're a renewal, then there should be a history as to whether there were violations or no violations.
They have,
No,
some of these.
this one is different than this one.
That one's that one. See, look at the address. 225, 225.
But this is 3425, that's 1779. That is 17.
So 3425 is the first one, 3425 Jackson Road. The second is 1779 Zebulon Road. The third is 1735 Zebulon Road.
Yeah, this is really confusing, I'm sorry, I see now, but,
Because every other one doesn't.
yeah, I don't know who I'm fussing at about this.
That's okay. We were fussing today as well because
Okay.
Granicus was giving us trouble
So
today.
it's actually only 5.
That is correct. There are only 5, and none of them have violations.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right.
Yeah, Gwen, you had that, I literally was making notes going, well, violation on this.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Oh, did we get a second?
We did.
Yeah. 5-0, motion carries. Old business. This time, I'd like to ask the Great Superior Court Judge Scott Ballard to share with us thoughts concerning the Spalding County resolution for court reporters per diem. Judge Ballard, welcome back.
I don't recognize myself by that introduction, but appreciate it. As you know, the Griffin Circuit is comprised of 4 counties. Spalding, of course, is one, but we also have Fayette, Pike, and Upson. And there's sort of an agreement among the counties to try to work in concert when it pertains to employment matters and compensation. And that was what is intended by that resolution that I came before you before the other day to do. It would appear that the language in the resolution that you passed was a little confusing to one of the counties, and we have drafted a different draft of it that we think accomplishes what you intended to do in a way that would be understood better. And the problem comes with the definition of 2 categories of court reporters in the circuit. We have Griffin Circuit official court reporters who are paid a salary and then they receive the per diems that we've been talking about and transcript fees. And then we have contract court reporters who don't work for one judge all the time, but they're like a substitute teacher that would come in when you need them to, and they don't get a salary, they just get the per diems. And the intention of the resolution, and as it's been passed throughout the circuit in the other counties, was that we would raise the per diem for contract reporters those who are not employees, to $400 a day, whether it's a civil case or a criminal case. But for the employees, the Griffin Circuit official court reporters, they would only get the raise to $400 per day on civil matters. The criminal matters would remain at what it is because their salary compensates them for being there on criminal days. The wording of the resolution that y'all so very kindly passed confused one of the counties. We've drafted something now that we think will take care of that. I've handed Dr. Ledbetter copies of that for your consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions.
We're still capped at 25,000?
Yes, yeah, we did not change that. And I will say that I don't really know, something has changed since I was here before. When I was here before, one of our judges did not have an official court reporter, but she has now hired someone. She was using a contract reporter before, but she's now hired somebody who would be getting the lesser amount per diem for criminal cases. So that's why I'm here, is just to try to clarify that one thing with the wording of the resolution you now have before you.
Motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I get it. We've
I'm
already approved
confused.
this. It's just a clerical change.
Because, yeah, I really didn't understand this. You're saying that the paid court reporters will receive their salary, but if they work for a civil case that's not a criminal case, they get $400 a day in addition to their salary.
Yes, ma'am, and usually, unless you have multiple civil cases on the same day, they bill that to the attorneys. A lot of times we have multiple civil cases in a day, and those are the days that it gets billed to the county because of the difficulty in apportioning the time for each of the civil cases. Does that help? We've always.
The same court report, we're talking hypothetically, would this be the same court reporter for each of these cases? If it were a civil case? Because you say when you have multiple cases during the day, and there's a problem with how you're billing instead of billing for each individual case, because this doesn't say per case, it says per day.
It's per diem. The only time that in civil cases they bill the county a per diem is on those days where we have multiple civil cases. Let's imagine this. You've got 20 civil cases you're going to hear in this day. 2 of them take 15 minutes apiece. 3 of them take 30 minutes apiece. 1 of them might be significantly longer. It's just too difficult to apportion out and bill that to the lawyers. It's real easy when there's just 1 civil case. You send them the $400 bill, and usually the 2 parties split that. But this is how we've always done it. We're just now going from $200 a day to $400 a day for the per diem on civil cases. And the reason for that is to keep up, of course, with the demand, what they're paying court reporters in surrounding counties.
Right, but this is not just for contract employees, this is for everyone.
Yes,
County
ma'am.
employees or circuit employees or whatever you're saying.
For civil, yes, ma'am. For criminal, it's not. For criminal, they get the lesser per diem that they have been getting for a couple of decades now.
So if Judge Thacker doesn't have a court reporter, or better question yet, when he has court and he has a court reporter, how do they get paid?
I don't know. This is just Superior Court.
I know you're saying Superior Court, but I understand what makes us not give him that. I'm not asking you that. I'm looking at Steve. I'm trying to understand why we're doing just one piece when we clearly have other courts who use the same kind of people.
Stephanie?
My part is completely under control. And
Step forward, Judge, please.
So I think we have to do this because it's a circuit. So all
Yes.
4 counties have to approve this, whereas just us can approve the state court one because it's just Spalding County.
give that person a gold star. That's the answer to the question. I am just Spalding County. I am following their lead. I'm waiting for them to sort this out, and then I'm just going to issue an order saying the state court adopts the decisions of the Superior Court.
Actually, Judge Thacker, my preference would be that you have a resolution in front of you for state court as well, would be that you approve them both, because the resolutions are different.
So,
Actually, I think there's only one. There's only
There's just one
Superior
tonight.
Court this evening, and then we will bring
It's
back
on the agenda, but there is in their packet, in the
so
agenda packet,
my,
there's
my
both.
question being to the county manager then is, as we reckoned that it wouldn't be more than $25,000 a year, we totally did not reckon that this would be automatically adopted by resolution by the other court, which makes the money different. Now, I know we said we got 25,000 as a cutoff, but we still get billed. So I'm just trying to figure out, why are we basically setting ourselves up when we know that this number is not going to be a good number?
I had the conversation with Judge Ballard, and we are assured that since we are splitting across four different counties, that the 25,000 is a very high-end number. We do not foresee, especially since the final judge brought on the court reporter, we do not see going anywhere near the $25,000 mark.
Okay, but what about the funding for
So
for Judge Thacker? Because
correct.
he is waiting for them to get theirs approved, and then he clearly said that he's going to adopt that. So that's money.
Well,
So I'm trying to figure out, where is that going to come from?
Yes, ma'am. Back to Commissioner Dutton's comment. It does behoove us to set that one aside so that we can come back to you with some firm numbers on how much that one's going to cost. That's why it was not placed on this evening. We were waiting for Superior Court to finish before we came back with the state court.
So it's a budgeted item next year, basically.
May I just say, I'm not going to move on this until I have y'all's blessing. I'm waiting for them to finish before I talk to y'all about it.
Yeah, but
Does that
you
help?
know we need to ask beyond what's standing.
Absolutely. I just want to make
That's
sure you know that I
But
will
if-
come back to see you before I ask for it.
But if we have 5 Superior Court judges that each have a court reporter, and we're not gonna get to close to 25,000, but we're setting that as our high watermark. We have one state court judge with one court reporter, like, the math's pretty easy to say, well, the cap's probably gonna be closer to 5,000. Like, that's not, these aren't big asks. There's, I mean, for our entire justice, judicial system, this is not a large amount of money compared to what we have.
I just feel like we should be able to tell people how much it's gonna cost. So that means we need to know how much it's gonna cost.
So we've already approved up to 25,000.
That's correct.
No, that's just for the
Right,
Superior
right.
Court.
But his is probably
Yeah,
into
he's not
next year's
asking.
budget.
Yeah, I know it, but
Yeah.
I'm asking the question because
It'll be more.
we know that that's what's gonna happen. That's all the questions I got. Don't like it, but I finished asking all the
Okay,
questions.
everybody understands. We're just doing Superior Court this time, all right? Any more discussion?
You're next.
All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 4, all those opposed? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Quinn, did you, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. All right, 5. Unanimously approved. Thank you.
Thank you all so very much.
Have a good evening.
All right, y'all too.
Item number 2. Tonight is the second reading of a proposed text amendment to the Spalding County Court of Ordinances, Appendix Number 4, Zoning, Article 2, Section 202, General Definitions pertaining to data centers. Community Development Director David Allen is here to provide an overview and answer any questions.
So back on October 24th, we did the first reading. We also discussed adding the standards for data centers to PDD district, and that is now reflected in the document here, section 1703, to go along with section 1403 from C1C zoning. So I just want to remind the board that we had suggested that in October, and now it's before you as a finalized text amendment.
All right, all the stuff we talked about before, all included in here
Correct.
and fixed, ready
Yes,
to go.
Doesn't affect
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin mining.
So,
It excludes it.
excuse me, I wasn't
Right,
here,
that's okay.
David. I wanna ask you, how is this text amendment different than what we had already?
Before, you just had it for standards for C1C zoning, and that was a special exception. We discussed few weeks ago in October about putting it as a permitted use in PDD zoning, which is like the industrial park zoning. So now the second sheet here, section 1703, has standards for that for PDD zoning for data centers.
So in the plan development, we're saying that C1, C1B,
See,
C1C, which is a higher equipment machinery type, consideration over C1B, because C1B is still very truckish, large equipment. We're saying that in a planned development, we're talking about an area where people have houses, they may have businesses, that we're gonna allow a C1C manufacturing. And when you're saying light, that means no air pollution.
the C1C, the reason it's a special exception is this addresses existing C1C parcels in the county now. In case there was gonna be a data center on those, it would allow the special exception option. In addition, it addresses any future C1C parcels as well. The PDD is a completely different zoning. It's basically the industrial park that's over there where Caterpillar and everything else is. So the thinking is there that it's already an industrial park. There's no better place suited for something like this than being in that area already. So that's why there's a differential here between the PDD and the C1C zonings as far as data center placement.
We've slipped into the second part of this, haven't we?
But don't we have,
The first part's definitions, the second part's, I think, the part you're talking about,
Yes.
which is the C1C. Right now, we're at 2, which is just the definition.
I thought he
Yeah, I'm
made
sorry, I
mention
should
to
have
that.
clarified. I'm speaking for both items just for
Okay.
sake of time, but yes. Definitions did not change, but the item 3 there on the agenda for old business, we added the data centers to PDD zoning. So I should have clarified that.
Just approving
So it
definitions for
used to
number
be
2.
special exception, now it's by right that you can do
In that one
C1C?
zoning, it wasn't in the code at all. So now there's a place for it for a special exception. Then existing industrial park or perhaps a future industrial park, it would be permitted by right just in that park.
Okay, so all of our industrial areas are PDD. We don't have any PDD that includes mixed use, such as.
There's several
like
types of
commercial?
PDD. There's a residential PDD, a commercial, and an industrial. The ones we're thinking of out there is purely industrial.
Okay, so wouldn't we need to just delineate that this is PDD industrial as opposed to PDD,
Any other.
commercial or mixed use? I'm just saying, you say it's a different one for each one.
There are, excuse me, there are different ones. Y'all keep talking, let me pull up the code.
Okay.
Sorry.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know if I like the idea that it becomes
Right.
a right. Like, I think being it available as a special exception means they still have to come, because there's a lot more infrastructure that comes around with data centers. They're very power hungry. They're very, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so we'd have to make sure that all the other boxes get checked. You know what I'm saying? So coming as a special exception, hey, that's available as a special exception in there. Makes sense, but like, you don't even have to ask us. Like, yeah, we put this here. Now you guys got to provide all the infrastructure. Like, whoa, whoa, you know.
So in the first approval
Just-
condition or zoning standard for the C1C, the first one says shall only be located within a planned commercial or industrial development. I could put that if you like for the standards for the PDD. That way it would limit it just to an industrial.
I would like
development.
that better because there, PDD is different if you're planning residential and small commercial as opposed to industrial, and I think we need to delineate and it needs to be in writing.
When it is zoned, PDD will say either neighborhood commercial, shopping center, or industrial. That's the way we've historically done it. So when David says that the data center can go into a PDD and it's an industrial area, that's the way it would be designated.
And that would occur at zoning.
Pardon me?
That would occur at zoning.
That's correct. That would occur at zoning.
Okay, but that also would be how they would come in and apply
Correct.
Correct.
Now, we do have the existing PDD industrial area over there, which would be allowed
Yep.
in there.
That's correct, because an industrial PDD is for C1C manufacturing light and C2 manufacturing.
Okay.
And a data center would be compatible with those two areas. Because the data center is basically just a big box with computers that uses a lot of energy and water. But it would be compatible with an industrial development.
Well, I mean, I know that we're not trying to allow any industry that's, I say, dirty. But yeah, you know, I'd rather for it to be clear to somebody on the front side that they can't come with that kind of.
I can either put in parentheses industrial behind the PDD district or put that, as I just
Yeah,
said,
industrial PDD, you know,
Yeah.
All right, do you want to try to table this and let him
Oh,
fix that?
no,
Okay.
for me, just that, making sure that it's separated so that anyone making an
That it's an
application will
industrial
know that it is a particular area of
Okay,
PDD.
I will definitely make a note of that.
and again, I think it needs to be available on a special exception wherever it's going, as opposed to
Right.
by right. Again, even if that's just to give us the notice that it's coming, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I
I agree.
would imagine that we would turn, you know, down Facebook wants to come and put $1 billion into our community. We'd love it, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of infrastructure that comes with that, and if it's already there, and then they come and just go, hey, we're gonna buy this lot and put it, we go, oh crap, you know.
It's gotta be cleared.
Does that make sense?
I think
don't
that's
see
a
why
big
we
issue.
wouldn't.
I think that's a big issue. What Gwen was talking about, we can fix easily, but, all right. Do you want to table this and let him bring it back to us
Well, I think
for?
we should table the second one. We got a motion to approve the first one,
All right,
like two, and then there's two, and there's.
all right, let's go. Any more discussion on number 2? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
I don't have a motion.
Fine.
Did we make a motion?
I did not capture a
I
motion.
didn't catch them.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to accept the second reading of the proposed text amendment to the Spalding County Code of Ordinances Appendix 4 zoning, Article 2, Section 202, general definitions pertaining to data centers.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Do I have a motion to table number 3? Do I have a second?
Motion to table until December. We can have it back, I mean, it's not that big of a change.
David, can you get it back to us in December meeting?
That is going to be the meeting from hell. Can't he wait till January? I'm just like, there's a gazillion things on that agenda.
All right, let's just.
I mean, this is not a burning bush, is it? I mean,
Yeah, kinda.
When do y'all want it on? January and December?
Let us work to get this on in December, and we'll figure out where to put it.
Motion to table to
Jesus.
December.
I don't think December is gonna be as bad as you think.
Okay, good. All right, I have a motion.
Okay.
I have a motion to table. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Motion item is tabled.
When?
It's gonna
Get
we're
this.
gonna keep the December meeting going until next
James,
December.
Gotcha. Yes, sir.
That way you have to stay.
Uh,
Never adjourn. just make a-
New business. That's where we are, right? Spalding County Sheriff's Department is requesting surplus vehicles. Specifically, they are requesting to declare 2 sheriff's office vehicles surplus and donate to the Woodbury Police Department 2014 Dodge Charger, Unit 1403, C3C 2C 3CDXA T1EH 190630 and a 2014 Dodge Charger Unit 1409 2C3CDXAT 2EH190636. Deputy County Manager.
I believe Sheriff Dix is going to explain this.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see the sheriff slip up there. All right, wonderful sheriff.
Okay, I had the opportunity to meet Chief Jackson from Woodbury PD a while back, and during the conversation, he said that they were really hurting for some vehicles and wanted to know if we had anything that might be considered for donation to them. I informed him that the only vehicles that we would have that would be available would be extremely high mileage, about 10 years old, and would have a lot of mechanical issues with them. So he said at that point, at the point they're in right now, he really didn't care, that they just needed vehicles. So both vehicles are in excess of 100,000 miles. They are in excess of their mechanical limits. One of the vehicles needs about $3,500 worth of engine work done to it. Woodbury has agreed to foot the bill if this passes for all mechanical work, so there's nothing that we can do. Anything that we had equipment-wise on the vehicle that can be reused or salvaged has already been removed from the vehicles. So basically, they are paperweights right now, and they're willing to take on the job of getting them repaired, so they'll have some vehicles on the road down there.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
I want to make a motion to approve, but for discussion.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
So I was driving with the newest city council woman from Peachtree City down 16 last Thursday, and we passed a county vehicle that was an old Crown Vic.
Yes, sir.
That I'm sure started with your department and then went from one department to the next department, but it's still an active county vehicle. And I went, boy, wouldn't it be great if we could get this probably 250,000 mile Crown Vic and upgraded. So not to, put any kind of ill dispersions on Woodbury, but there might also be a need here in Spalding County for these vehicles, maybe not with the sheriff's department anymore, but I think that was a public defender driving that car.
It might have been. We have, vehicles have been moved around all different kind of places in the county to stretch them out as long as they can, but they have to come out of service because of mileage, speed that may be, and different things like that. And
I'm not saying we should surplus them, I'm just.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, cars now are not built like they used to be built.
The Dodge Charger especially.
Right. No, I didn't say that.
Crown Vics are still working. I'm just throwing it out there. But here I was, talking up, our town and but Peachtree City, Peachtree's got nothing on Griffin. Come on, we're an awesome community. And then, isn't that one of your county car? Is it? Is that one of mine? Oh no. And so it wasn't a super great look. So again, I'm all for them being surplus. They're, I just kind of go. Maybe.
We are hoping with the way things go in the future that within the next year or so, we will be, as far as uniform patrol, completely out of the silver cars and into the newer black that will last us for years and years and years on top of what we already have.
Maybe thinking about surplusing them to. I think the DA's office needs a few, and I think our public defenders.
Right.
I mean, again, standing up for where I used to work, like it.
Oh, really?
They, the second winter I was there, the heater went out and we had to bring in desk units, and we didn't have doors, so we had to use plastic trash bags to tape up. I mean, like that's the shoestrings they're running on. So.
Well, both of these cars combined may be worth $5,000 with the condition that they're in. And that's a stretch.
Sure.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
somebody repeat the motion, because I think the motion should be to declare this surplus, not to approve this.
That's correct.
Because we have to declare it surplus.
Correct.
We're not just approving them declaring it surplus.
Correct.
Then I make a motion to declare this surplus. These two cars, as read out. I'm not going to repeat the VIN numbers.
Okay,
And I'll second it.
all right, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for coming, Chair.
Ms. Dye, I believe that the Sheriff's Department is requesting the purchase of vehicles. This will require a resolution declaring the Board of Commissioners' official intent to reimburse the sheriff's vehicles. Could you please share with us how this process works?
Yes, sir. The sheriff's department has requested to purchase 9 2024 Dodge Durangos and also the upfitting. We have applied for financing through ACCG. We will get full reimbursement of the amount that the sheriff's department is requesting for these vehicles. And the sheriff's department will pay it back in turn, beginning next year in semi-annual payments.
Is there an incentive to get the 9 up front? Is there an incentive that we're asking for all 9? Is there something? It just makes sense. It just makes sense. I didn't know if there was.
No, I'm just trying to figure out why we're not doing a lease purchase.
That's exactly what this is. It's set up the exact same way. The ACCG financing just calls it something different, but it is a full 5-year, $1 buyout lease purchase for these vehicles. And that's the information that Ms. Dye is sharing with you this evening, is that we have to, by ACCG rules, make an intent from the Board of Commissioners to reimburse these funds through resolution. And that's their first step for the application process. They then bid the financing across the United States, and they take,
Who bids?
ACCG does, and they take the lowest bid for interest financing, and that's how we get set up for our financing. We're in a position now with the financial state that we're in, where we're gaining points for reduced interest rates for the financing that we are requesting. I think the last opportunity that we had, which was about 6 months ago, when we brought a resolution before the board, we wound up with a dirt cheap finance option. I believe it was 1.75% financing.
Right.
That's kind of what I was asking.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that an incentive to have?
This is an incentive for us.
It's a good deal.
This is exactly how we are presenting this information before you. And we want to make sure that our community realizes that we are out searching for the cheapest way to finance the requirements for purchasing vehicles or anything else that we have for our community that requires financing.
Not just that, but to add to what Dr. Ledbetter just said, if we went with the Georgia State contract price right now, Georgia State contract price is $49,685. We've looked all over the country for vehicles. We have found out that we can get them from Indiana for about $47,685 per vehicle. By the time you go through with all of the upfitting, if we purchase these vehicles now, it will be an overall savings of $63,000.
Yeah, I want to give kudos to the sheriff and to the sheriff's department for how we've operated. We had a very bad experience with Enterprise a couple of years ago, but what we learned from that experience was that we don't have to just shop under Georgia contract. We can go under Sourcewell and shop across the United States for the best price for the vehicles that we have. Same vehicle, same. And the sheriff has purchased vehicles from Indiana, from Louisiana, Pennsylvania, and we've been able to save the citizens of Spalding County thousands of dollars per vehicle for how we are managing our fleets across the county.
Okay, so my question is, and this is for the sheriff. So you do have a replacement plan for your vehicle replacement. Is it 100,000 miles, or is it 7 years or 5 years? And the reason I'm asking you that, because with these 9 vehicles, how many vehicles do you still have left that you're gonna need to outfit with these new Durangos?
I don't know the exact number, but these vehicles right here were the ones that I was talking about that will put Uniform Patrol just about an entirely brand new, either 23 or 24 vehicles, which will last as long as the 2014s lasted or longer. So we're looking at some of these vehicles not having to replace them again for anywhere from 8 to 10 years based on usage and mileage and maintenance. But it's hard to set a plan in place because there are so many different variances in the amount of miles that vehicles are driven. Not just that, but the hours that they are operated. So when we start hitting 100,000 miles plus, Then we start looking at the mechanical issues that have happened with that vehicle. Then we start making the determination based on facts, not just based on
It's
a
time.
set number.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will end up with having some vehicles that will be in court services that will still be older model Dodge Chargers from 2014, 2015, in those areas, but we won't have to replace them yet because we're not having that many problems with them because they're not driven that much. They're driven to transport prisoners back and forth to the courthouse and things like that. So those vehicles will last a long time. So we look at the overall picture, not just a certain set standard for
So
replacement.
every time we get vehicles, or the sheriff gets vehicles or Public Works, we do a new lease purchase.
We do it.
That's what you're saying.
That is correct, yes,
And
ma'am.
that is over how many years?
5 years.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, please forgive me. It's over 4 years. We do a 4-year dollar ballot lease.
All right, do I have a motion to declare the Board of Commissioners official intent to reimburse?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Do they pay the insurance on that too? Do we reimburse for the insurance that's gonna be paid on those vehicles?
No, ma'am.
No,
No, ma'am.
that's us. That's us.
All right. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hands. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff.
Bye.
Presentation of Tyler Technology Court contract from Judge Thacker. Welcome back,
Evening,
Judge.
y'all. So I'm here as your court administrator, not your state court judge at this moment, as y'all know.
Last year as the court of.
Yeah, I'm officially resigning as of July 1 of next year, so, but in that said, so what this is when I got here when I won the election in 2016, we were rolling out the brand-new database, which was Tyler Technologies. It was called Odyssey then, which I always thought was really funny because Odyssey is a big, long journey where you never get where you want to go. They've now renamed it Justice, which is just as ironic because I get to say things like Justice crashed this morning. Can we open a ticket? So this is but it's a good program and it does a great job for us. And we have put a lot of work into making it work. And I'm incredibly proud of what we have done as a court system in bringing it from, frankly, stumbling out of the gate in 2016 to what it is today. But the reason why I'm standing in front of you is that we realized there were 2 issues that needed correcting. Because all of this happened before I got here, and then they slowly became known. The first issue was that the original contract did not limit Tyler Technologies' annual increases by any sort of percentage. And they were able to do whatever they wanted. And I did not pass this up to you, but I brought it. So in year 1, it was 6.5%. Then it dropped to 4.89%. Then it was 7.10%. We got all the way down to 5% one year, 6% one year, and 5% one year. So those are higher than average annual increases. So I got with Stephanie, County Attorney, I'm sorry. And so what we did was, that's the first issue, and we negotiated with them. We wanted 3%. They wanted 5%. We finally settled at 4%. So now it lets you all budget with much more confidence because you know what the next number is going to be because it's also in the end of your packet that you have on there. And so that's the first issue. We wanted to bring that financial piece into something that is organized and predictable. It's just like the court we want to create. I want a boring and predictable Spalding County State Court. I want you all to have a boring and predictable contract with Tyler Technology. And of course, y'all are doing this on your end as well with your administrative program. Okay, so that was the first issue we wanted to fix, and this does that. In there is a line that says they shall not increase it more than 4%. They can go less than 4%, but they're probably not going to. So, okay, the second issue is this packet here, if y'all have this, which is that, yes. So that's not a lot of substance, but there's a couple of good graphs I just wanted y'all to see in there. So there were 2 sides to the project, to the database. The first side is tickets. So when stuff goes wrong, fixing it, right? And so our contract covered that. We can open all the tickets we need when stuff breaks. But we also know there's another side to software, which is improvement. The software is always changing. There's always updates. There's projects that need to be fixed. We didn't have any apparatus for that in our original contract. So whatever improvements we squeezed out of Tyler, it's because I went, frankly, and begged. And I said, look, y'all, I know this is not part of it, but we really need a defendant access portal where defendants with tickets can go log in and go get access to this. And I know we don't have it set up, but like, how about we be your beta testers? So I volunteered us for a lot of beta testing so that we could get these things. And then I realized that I'm not going to be doing this job forever, and a good leadership makes themselves, replaceable. And so I said, we need to set this up so that the contract protects us. And that's the second thing this adds, is it now has projects, or as they like to call it, continuous improvement, which is much more corporate speak and exciting. So that's what I want you all to think of it. Tickets to fix it, projects to make it better. What we have now with this one is a pool of techs who are not the ticket people, who we can go to them with our projects and say, all right, this is how we need to improve the software to work for Spalding County. And then you all have that list of projects in this separate document. And you can see each project has a numerical value. And the first project we're rolling out is text notifications for ticket defendants, because we do thousands and thousands of tickets. We issue thousands and thousands of warrants for people who don't show up. I think that if we were to just nudge them the night before and say, hey, by the way, will you please remember to come to court tomorrow or pay your ticket, I think we'll get them resolved. The sheriff has been wonderful. A year ago, when I first went to him with this idea, he immediately had his Uniform Patrol Division officers start taking mobile numbers down. They modified their ticket, and so we've been getting those numbers now for over a year in anticipation of rolling out these text notifications. It works for my dentist. I forgot about mine. It notified me. I remembered. So we're hoping it's going to really cut down on the miss rate. But that's just one of, y'all can see it, tons of stuff.
I think that's going to save us a ton of money too, because the warrants department then got to go and collect these cats that miss their court date, because that's the mechanic, as opposed to them getting a text message. So, how many thousands of hours is that going to save us? And that translates into a lot of dollars and a lot of car miles and a lot of, so.
So I'm kind of clueless. I'm just gonna like to know what percentage of that is of those people that don't show up.
So the short answer is I'd say on any given ticket calendar, which we do 2 of those a month, I would say probably 40% don't show up. But then about half of those pay within the next 30 days. So, because they'll get noticed, hey, you missed court, and they'll just pay their ticket and they'll close it. But then, there's a pretty good group. I've got well over 1,000 right now just sitting on my docket that I don't know what to do with. They're older tickets that I don't want to quite dismiss yet, but at the same time, I don't know what to do with. So anyway, that's a good question. That's what we want to cut back on, because that is a lot of work on Debbie Brooks and her team. That's a lot of paperwork that we might not have to do. And again, that's just one of many of these. So that's it.
Is this a financial impact on us,
Yes.
Dr. Ledbetter?
Oh, sorry.
It's the financial impact for the increase to the already annual subscription that we have with Tyler. So it's a 4% increase.
Yes, so if you'll go to like the third page from the back, I'm sorry I didn't print that for myself. The first number is like 146 or so, no, of the actual contract.
Okay.
It's like 146. I think we've already paid like
Ms. Williams has it in
139.
her book.
So I think it's about 6,000. Okay, Erica's nodding at me because we all know I'm terrible at numbers. So it's roughly about that. So it's about 5,000 or 6,000. And we knew this was coming. It took us, County Attorney Wyndham, we started this back in.
It's been several months. It was difficult to get a response from Tyler for a while.
Yeah, so this is why we're here in November.
Cost of the contract last year.
The cost of the contract last year was, because I do have that, hold on, 137,579, and that jumped up from the previous year of 131,28.
And we did make the adjustment for the budget. I made the adjustment for the budget this year and utilized the 6%. So there is money allocated for this line
So
item.
that's my question. Was this budgeted in your 25 budget?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we
Okay.
knew it was going to come in somewhere close to this.
All right, any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you all.
Have a motion.
Oh, absolutely.
Motion to approve.
Okay, excuse me. Let's, all right, we got a motion to have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Judge Sacker. Item number 4, application 23-16S, Iris Hernandez, owners, 2160 Rocky Creek Road, approximately 30.08 acres located in land lot 172 of the 3rd Land District. The applicant is requesting a special exception to operate an event center for private parties. The property is currently zoned AR1, Agriculture and Residential. Community Development Director.
So just a short history of this. She's been working on this for well over a year. First official meeting with the planning commission was back in the late August. They tabled it then to ask her to bring some more items of information, a rental agreement, liability insurance, things of that nature. They met again in October, October 29th to be exact. She did bring those requested items. Planning Commission then recommended for denial. Staff's recommendation all along has been for approval. I do have some 11 approval conditions there specified out on the third page, I believe, of your staff report. So staff's recommendation is for approval. After the Planning Commission meeting on October 29th, Ms. Hernandez did provide me a copy, and it's in your staff report as well, the plan of the enclosed pavilion. So she's wanting to do that, naturally, if approved, to cut down on the noise as they spoke of earlier in the meeting. Matter of fact, it is approval condition number 2, and closing of the pavilion will have to take place before any events can be hosted. And these are events, of course, for strangers, for pay, not family events. But that is one of the approval conditions, and you can see from the elevation she provided, that is her intent, is to enclose that pavilion, so.
All right, so the planning commission said no. Were all their later the requirements that they were concerned about taken care of as it's moved forward with you?
Their initial items in August were, yes.
Okay, so if they had met again on this, they would have approved it because all the rest of the stuff they said were no.
I can't speak to that. I mean, there were concerns at that night, just as there were concerns tonight about noise. However, at that time, there was not an enclosed pavilion plan as she provided after that meeting. So I can't speak for them, but part of the main consideration was noise.
All right, for while we're talking through this is really 2 issues to me. One of them is all about noise. We have a new noise ordinance, and if the noise ordinance is going to be followed, then I'm okay with that. We have to put this in place to be able to do it. My thought process is, if you want to know the truth, is to say that over the next year, we will watch, and if there's any noise ordinance, we will undo what we're doing tonight if we pass it.
So, first of all, the noise ordinance that we have has absolutely no teeth in it. There is no way for, if someone called the sheriff and said, this is so loud, the sheriff or the deputy doesn't have something that they can measure how many decibels it is. And so, there's no teeth in the noise ordinance. The other thing is that, even as an event center, if you are going to have outside amplification, noise that leaves
That's
your
right.
property,
That's right.
you have to have that every time that you have an event,
Correct.
if it is outdoors. So, for the person, I don't remember who it was that stood up and said that there are no residences around Mystic Acres. There's tons of residences behind Mystic Acres. And there's houses in the front, but I mean apartment complexes, homes. So, and we had those same people to come to us when Mystic Acres was put up. My concern with this application is that there have been things constructed on this property that did not follow the code, that did not follow the permitting. And I have not a lot of confidence that we can set up parameters where that is going to work. Because you can build a pavilion all day long, but if the windows are open, you can hear the noise. I mean, granted, if you got a permit for amplification and it's from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 10, okay, I get it. But you can't do that every time. If you're having, I think someone, Ms. Hernandez said something about having a rodeo. Oh my God. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but what I'm saying to you is that noise carries. There is no way, so we don't have a good way to measure for noise abatement. We know on the front side that if you are having events, there's going to be noise. If we allowed Mystic Acres to do it, if we allowed the pavilion to do it, we kind of hard pressed at this.
Precedent has been set.
But the other thing
No,
for
I don't
me
think so.
is that, is this a home occupation? If it is a home occupation, then there should not, in the home occupation ordinance, there should not be any evidence that you have a home occupation going on. If you got 100 cars or even 50 cars coming into your property, that's a business. That's not a home occupation. So can somebody tell me whether or not this is being requested as a home occupation? Because if it's not, then you're putting a business on a residential piece of property.
Well,
It
it's one of
seems
the,
like it should be rezoned agricultural tourism. At
Well,
very
no,
least.
I'm saying you got 30 acres,
As
but
opposed to
the primary need, the primary design for this piece of property was for a home. If you want to have a business, you can have a home occupation, but there are rules that go around that. But if you want to have a business where you have cars coming in, you have music, you have noise, you have all the things that happen around an event center, delivery, blah, 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 you're running a full-fledged business in your place where you're living. That is part of the problem that I have with this. So, I mean, I don't want to deny anyone the ability to make money, because I know that Ms. Hernandez shared that because of whatever, some personal issues, this was her way of getting income. But this setup is it's not good for me. I see the design. I don't know what's out there. From what I see at Q Public, there's all kinds of buildings out there. And if I ask planning and development, was there a permit for this? I already know there wasn't a permit for the little apartment and the kitchen and the restroom that was in a building. And so now, is that the building that's going to become the enclosed pavilion? I've got way too many questions that I don't have answers for. And my level of confidence is not real high right now with whether or not they will be able to do that and be good neighbors in terms of running an event center business and not interfering with the rest of the community.
Do we see this as a trend with other applications? I mean, do we see this as something that we have to look at in the future?
Commissioner, you haven't, excuse me, you haven't had one of these in a while. We added the text to allow a special exception event center long before David was here, in order to allow these events to occur in rural areas and put requirements on them regarding lot size, attendance, so forth and so on. There has not been a surge of these, but whenever they are proposed, there are issues that are raised to the public.
So it is definitely distinguishable from a home occupation, and as Mr. Galloway said, it's a principal use special exception in AR1 zoning. There's a lot size of 25 acres. She meets that by over 5 acres. Must be located on a public paved road, maximum event size 200 guests, setbacks, hours of operation. Without this being an operation, certain things like the noise ordinance, we won't know till it happens. But as far as physical requirements of the acreage being on a public paved road, things of that nature, her property does meet those, so.
But her property is also her property for her primary domicile. I don't,
Yes.
where are we allowing people to operate a business where they live in? That's not a home occupation. That's why I'm confused. I'm confused about how we even got to this. Nobody said, okay, I live right here. I'm gonna whatever you do with the lot and rename it, and this is where I wanna put my business. So if we make an exception for them, what about the next people who want to come? It's not, I mean, I love the idea of the horse riding school, and that's not very high intense and with noise, but we're talking about lots of different stuff that I just don't feel that it's appropriate in a residential setting.
And if we do approve it, not saying that we won't, like you mentioned before is the point I was trying to make, whether or not we have these in the future or not set up right now, but we can maybe expect it coming more if we need to, if we're more lenient toward this application. And if we don't address these things now.
So I'm worried about noise, but at the same time, if they're going to amplify, they're going to have to come get an amplification permit, event center or no. I'm not really worried about traffic and deer. DNR is having a huge issue with the deer living in residential Peachtree City neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Like, the deer are going to be prolific even if you clear cut this place. But that said, call me pedantic if you want, but if what they're asking from us is not exactly what they went to planning and zoning with, then essentially we need to remand this new plan back to planning and zoning and have them start, like, you can't just get no's and be like, okay, then we'll pitch this idea to these guys. That's just not how that should work. You can't just change your plan mid, you create a plan and then you go through the process with that plan. And you can't say, well, we're getting some negative feedback, we'll just change the plan halfway. Okay, then you go back to here and you start back over. That said, I mean, anytime there's one of these, I pull it up on the map. And like, this doesn't match what they've proposed. There's buildings out of, this says future house. I mean, the map here doesn't have the house on it. The house is there. It doesn't have, or it says there's an arrow going, this is where the barn's going to be. There's 3 barns, and only one's on this map, and so that's not the way that the process works. You know what I mean? You come and say, hey, here's the plan, and you get all the approvals, and then you go and do the thing, and like, here we are. They're halfway through this project. They've been turned down. They've switched where the project's going to be, and now they're coming to us and just approve it anyway. That's just not how the process works. That's just not how the process works.
Commissioner Dutton, there has not been a substantive change to this plan. Now, I don't know about the rest of the property, but for purposes of this plan, is that correct?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Now, there is a proposal that was presented after P and Z recommended denial to enclose the pavilion or meeting center, whatever. But there's not a substantive change to what they proposed. While I'm talking out of turn, I want to address the chairman's comment about taking action later. This is a special exception. It is a legislative zoning decision. If you approve to deal with it later, you have to go back through the same process. The commission would have to take action to eliminate the special exception event center approval. If you approve the special exception for the event center,
we have to.
you have to go through the same process to eliminate it later.
If there was problems.
All right, how do we send it back? Can we send it back to planning and commission? See, there's we have the planning commission saying deny, and we have the staff saying approve.
Mr. Chairman,
But we're only
they
having
don't
the staff
have
saying
to
approve
agree.
because of
I
their-
agree,
Right.
but
If it's the board's decision to remand it back for something, it's within your discretion to do. Though this has been pending long enough to where there are concerns about, it's time to decide one way or the other. But, because I believe this has been around for a pretty long time.
Yes, last year.
So, for
Last
those
fall.
reasons, while you have discretion to do it, it's probably as ripe as it will be for a decision.
May I ask a question?
sure.
David, have you actually been out and had eyes on that property, or anybody in your office had eyes on that property?
I believe Eva did when she was here. I have not. I've just seen the satellite version y'all have seen, but I believe
So, because I
Eva
don't
did.
know that what we have on Q Public is actually accurate. And in my gut, I just want I wanna know what's there, other than the house, cause that's what's there. And I wanna know if there are buildings there that are actually buildings that have been permitted, inspected, and approved for use. Because I don't think we should be approving anything if there are actual violations there. So I would have a lot more confidence if I knew that everything else was accounted for that is supposed to be on that property.
I know there was a couple of, when I first came 3 months ago tomorrow, there were some talk about some permitting issues with the, pavilion, I believe. The pavilion is definitely there. That would be the main focus. Also, the horse ring is definitely back there. That would also be the focus for equine events. Those would be the two main areas used for events that are not family.
So my next question would be, do we know how much of this property that we're talking about being involved here is encompassed in the conservation land use land?
The entire thing is, to my knowledge. And have you spoken with the tax assessor about potential breach? Right, so she is aware of the potential breach of this with it being in the conservation.
There would be 2 acres in the house excluded from that.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying, when I look at this piece of property, just looking at it from Q Public, 50% of that property has been clear cut.
Yeah.
So
And built on.
clearly we're already into the 25 acres that was for conservation, tell me the word, Steve.
UVA, conservation
UVA.
use valuation.
Assessment.
Okay, yeah, I got a lump on my head from where I hit it earlier. So this is the kind of stuff we need to know. Because if you're getting a tax break on land that you have in conservation, but you're actually using it for business purposes, I'm not good with that.
Well, that would be reflected with that she would have to, it would be based on not what she cleared, but the future use, in this case, use for profit. And she would definitely have to pay a penalty for that. She would also have to, I think, I'm not a tax expert, but reapply with a certain portion of what is making money excluded from the conservation agreement she's in now. I believe that's the case. So it was certainly not, she would pay a pretty hefty penalty for it, yes. She cannot have her cake and eat it too, save money on taxes and also do something for profit. It would be reflected in that breach.
I understand,
So, yeah.
I understand. I just know that, that at Mystic Acres, they live at the very front of the property, and I don't know that that's separated from the back. But there's nothing on there but the pavilion. But when they have an outside wedding, you can hear the noise everywhere. So, but in real life, they could have an event at Mystic Acres every single day of the week. So when we start talking about allowing event centers in areas where there's no houses and no cars beeping, that sound will really carry. So we can't just look at it as if this will just be a weekend thing. Because in all reality, as a business, they could do an event every single day. And not just them, any of these, as we're looking at them. So I'm not opposed to it going back. I don't wanna deny it, but it needs some work on it. The whole thing needs work on it. Before we have some assurances that, we can't protect the community, but we can certainly set up some parameters, for operation.
Why was this not done by pulling the acres where the house is and making that a separate lot and then transferring the rest into agricultural tourism? I mean, isn't this exactly what this is?
Yeah, I mean, it's agritourism, horse riding and that kind of thing. I mean, clearly that area is set up for agritourism, but it's a business. And I don't know how that's working anywhere else. I know that there are a couple places that have come in and we've approved some agritourism things, but I think that's kind of like a farm to table kind of thing. And
I don't think we have approved one. We
No, I don't
did
think
the,
we have.
pardon me?
I don't think we have either.
We did
Yeah,
the
Captain
text for AT for Meadowlark Farms.
but didn't we do something at Camp Cecil Jackson too?
Yeah.
We did?
Yeah, that's agritourism. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's not, Commissioner, but I don't recall it.
I think that was our
Um,
first.
There are differences between AT and events,
Between
Now.
what and events?
just an event center.
Okay.
There are differences. And, David, I don't think you've had to work with AT yet since you've been here.
No, but I would imagine there is some benefit to the county in terms of revenue with AT that you would not have with a event center hosting just private events.
That there are a lot of different uses in AT that go beyond the event center as well, such as cabins,
Cabins?
such as a farm restaurant. Again, it depends upon, and we created an ordinance to give people flexibility who wanted to do that. We do not need, because I don't have an answer to this, and I'm sorry, but we don't need to just suddenly say, okay, go to AT.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
agree, I
we're
agree.
just chewing the whatever up here, just not really telling them to do that.
Were these 13 staff recommendation conditions, was that part of the pitch to planning and zoning before? That even with these, they recommended denial?
Some of these, yes, were, when I first came here, were part of it. Planning and the planning commission tweaked a few of them, themselves, but the majority of these were in place months ago.
And they still deny it?
Yes.
So is this that we have showing up there the site plan?
Yes.
I really can't see that good. Where, can you point to us where the actual residence is on this map? That's
E,
It's
the northeast corner.
right, B.
E. I don't see anything there but ground.
Not on this map.
A,
That house is
ABC.
already there though. Yellow.
Yeah.
So that, the satellite images, when I updated the time for the residents on there, when she created that map, those things are slow to update. But
So are there two homes on that property?
The other one's
Or
like
one?
a event center.
You want to hear from the applicant about the structures on there?
That would be fine.
So, good evening. So, what's in the front, E, that's where our house is. And everything else, like D, is the big storage that we have. And F is the barn. Down right under where the black line is, that's where the pavilion is. The G is where we have the rodeo thing where we practice with the horses. And then all around, there's nothing. Those are the only structures. Oh, sorry. Behind the pavilion, we built the restrooms. And as far as the permits, I know one time that I came before to get an amplification, it was denied because it was to your knowledge that we had no permits for any of this. And we did. I went up to the next business day. I went up to the department and got copies of all those permits that we pulled. The first one thing that we ever built was the storage, which is D. We did not, but my dad didn't know any better. But we went, we got it, everything got taken care of. And after that, we've gotten permits for every single thing that we do on there.
So all of the structures, even your horse ring was permitted?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, that one's still current. Like, that was the most recent one that we did.
But it is permitted, is
Yes,
what you're
ma'am.
saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is L, vendors? Is that a structure there, or you just, it says L, letter L?
Oh, the general area, if we ever to did, see, because the thing is with this event center, like, yes, we want to close it out to have weddings and private events, but we also want to use it for community purposes, like for county events, for anything like that. That's why we were just suggesting what area of the property would be adequate to do these setups, because planning and zoning had all these questions. So these are just suggestions as to what will be fit to be put on certain parts of the property. But there's like nothing there. That's just where we thought would be a good place. But again, things could be modified. And I mean, there's a couple things that I kind of wanted to talk about, which are a lot of the concerns, and I wanted to address them if that's okay. When we first bought the property back in 2016, we just bought it as recreational to go on a dirt bike and just have fun. Then we started clearing out because my sister was gonna have her 15s, and there was no places that we could find where we could bring like a horse show or something like that. So my dad, all of our family works construction. They all helped and built the pavilion for that purpose initially. Then obviously you have friends and family that come over. People saw what we had out there. People loved it. They're like, "Oh, can we do more parties?" I'm like, "It's private. We can't use it for other people." So after all the things that we've done, which my dad really did everything himself, I guess we a bit more than we could chew. It's a very expensive property to maintain. Just the lawn maintenance and other stuff, the horses, everything. So my parents, they've been working for more than 35 years. My dad's been working in construction, carrying OSBs on 2 stories houses. He fell off a 3-story house. His foot was broken in a million pieces. His knee's bad. His muscle on one of his arms fell. Like, he can't continue the only work that he knows how to do, that he's done all his life. Sorry. And so this was like his long dream, to have his own ranch, his own space. So we figured, well, how can we make this work? I know a lot of people want to have their outdoor weddings, like the ceremonies, and then have the venue inside. We're like, well, this would be great for that. That's something that my parents can do, that they can manage, as myself as well, with my son. With my son's condition, like, I can't have 8 to 5 because all the therapies and everything that he requires. So I lived there with my parents, and that's what we wanted to do. We are not trying to do anything near a type of Mercedes-Benz or a club in Midtown. Absolutely not. I mean, we live there. We have children. My son's autistic. He can't deal with that kind of things either. So that's why we just want to do like private events for weddings. I don't know if anybody here, there might be people that don't drink, but I mean, everybody, likes to have a drink now and then. That's why we want to put rules as to how that's provided, just like in any other venue. I do know that one of the things mentioned was that was just part of our heritage to drink and stuff. Like, it's not just strictly for us. We want to open it to every heritage, every background. I mean, one of my cousins married a Christian. They don't drink. There was absolutely no alcohol at her wedding. Like, it's open to everybody. It's not just for us and our culture use. We want to open it to the community, to the county. One of my other cousins, when we did her last 15, we have an aunt that was diagnosed with cancer. She asked all her guests to not give her gifts, to donate money for her, because she doesn't work, and she has an ill husband as well. So these are the kind of things we want to do to help everybody out, not just my family or people that we know, but people in general. If there's somebody, even if they're not in Spalding County, they're like, look, I have a child with this issue, which we had a friend of the family that has a girl with a tumor, a non-curable tumor, and her treatments are expensive. They wanted to do like a family event there, but we told them no, because we don't want to get in trouble with the county. We can't have people that are not our friends or family there. So they went and did it like somewhere else. So these are all the kind of things that we're trying to do there. We're not just trying to, we're not some big construction multi-million-dollar company trying to come and disturb everybody's peace. Like, we're just trying to find a way for my parents to maintain this property. That is my dad's dream all his life, and that's what he worked for. Everything on their belt or cleaned out, anything, he did it himself. That's all we're trying to do. We're not wanting to disturb anybody. I do feel like I do want to get the opportunity. I mean, I know when you have a business or something, you have to renew. So I just want a trial period. Give me, this first year, and if we have any issues, I mean, of course, you're in all your right to shut us down. But I can assure you we will not have any issues. As far as the issues with, I know a lot of the concerns are safety and alcohol. Like, it's like any other place. Like I said, Majestic Acres has a lot of residents around. And they have their events. I mean, it's not like we're just gonna, it's not like we're having like just a huge rave or something like that. I mean, it's a wedding. It's a Sweet 15. It's a baptism. Family, there's kids, like, just like any other event that there's control over everything. There has to be, anywhere that you go, there has control of their alcohol. There's licensed servers. There's people that cater it, things like that. Like, we're not just trying to run wild free thing. Like, we live there. Our kids live there. Our animals are there. Like, that's not what we're trying to do. I'm just trying to find something for my parents to be able to live off where they put all their life savings into without, going back to a factory, which they can't do in their health conditions.
Okay, more more discussion?
I do have a question.
Yes.
So for this event center, all the expectation is that all of the traffic will come in through the driveway that is your personal driveway, correct?
No, ma'am. On the back part of K, there's another entrance. It's like about, I want to say 250 feet into the property. It's gravel. It's not like concrete, but we use that as an entry as well.
Thoughts?
I mean, you know what I feel like, I mean, they should be able to have the right to do this, but I just don't think that I'm not comfortable. Okay, first of all, how your business, how often would it be open? Would it be open every day?
It depends. If there's limits that we have to follow, that's fine. If it's twice a month, if it's only on Saturdays, like, I mean, I'm open to whatever the county is willing to let me do.
We've never done that to anybody, and I don't want to do that to you because your business should be able to operate like anyone.
But I mean, really, in reality, who really has a wedding or a Sweet 15 like on a Wednesday? And again, like during the summer, we're going to be doing all these camps, which are day things for kids.
But there's other events that you could have out there.
Correct.
Or that could, be daily.
I mean, right, but
You could.
yeah, but like outdoor wise, I know we have to get amplification for that. If there were to be like I don't know, like a county food truck event or something that they want to do for a cause or something, then that would be something that we would have to talk about and arrange. But as far like weddings and stuff like that, would be strictly for the enclosed pavilion itself.
And how many square feet is that enclosed pavilion?
That's a good question.
This is not public hearing anymore. We need to finish with her.
It's part on the floor plan that was.
But my issue
Was it on there?
isn't the idea. My issue is the way that it's being done. My issue is we're trying to give them a special exception to run a commercial business with buildings and outbuildings and parking and a separate entrance in an AR1 residential zone. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Again, it's not the idea. Like, my daughter would love to go to more horse events, but like, you can't just plop down a business in an AR district. Like, I mean, I get that you could theoretically put in a variance for anything, but like, that's not the way it should be done. That's just not, we've never done that before. We've never, we created agritourism, but there is a house. They are going to live there. So it has to be a home occupancy exception. Okay, but those can only be done if no one can see that it's a business, anything other than your residence. Well, you've got all these outbuildings and new parking areas and a separate, like, it's just not.
So, how is Mystic Acres zoned? Because I know that the lady who owns it used to live in the house right in the front. And so clearly that house was there first before they built anything there. And if I'm not mistaken, that street is R2, 362, is that 362?
Mhm.
It is. So that area is either R1 or R2. So everywhere that we allowed this, the pavilion and Mystic Acres has been in the vicinity of residential. And I tell you what,
Again,
I'm basing my decision on having had bad experiences with this, and I know that that's not fair. But if our planning guru seems to think that these are workable, and I got this book here and I don't really know what I'm looking for here, but I think that specifically for every event that you have that will require amplification, you will have to come before us. If
Yes.
you have to come before us with a month's worth, and we may not always approve it, and we may not let you go to 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'm not saying they're gonna approve it, I'm
Ms.
just
Quinn,
saying.
we only see the ones that are over 5 hours, 5 hours and more. The rest of the amplification is handled internally by the staff. So if it's
And-
4 hours.
And if it meets those parameters,
Yeah, they already done.
Yeah, they
Sign and
check
done.
off and do it, so I don't wanna make
Yeah.
sure we're all saying it's, and now, we can say that they have to do that with us, but right now, the rule is, if it's less than 5 hours, the staff handles it, and we, as a Board of Commissioners, do not see it.
So in real life, if she was having a wedding and it was in an enclosed building, there's no need to ask for amplification.
Correct.
But as soon as you step outdoors, everybody around there is gonna hear it. So I think we have to be specific when we say what these amplification rules are, that it absolutely can't start before blah, blah, blah. Or your event can't be 12 hours long, or
Or we can make very specific things like you talked about earlier about timing over the first year and stuff like that. We're gonna allow this to happen and then we will come back and reevaluate.
is there a way to give provisional or timed approval like that?
You do it with alcohol all the time. with
But,
no
but
violation of
but alcohol's not a land use.
True.
Once you make a decision that is a zoning decision,
Right.
Commissioner, that attaches certain legal responsibilities to it.
yeah.
Commissioner Flowers Taylor's, Mystic Acres, the pavilion area is zoned C1. The residence is zoned R1.
Okay.
So the pavilion area has 12.49 acres and the residence area has 32.55.
The pavilion is 2 acres and the residence is 30.
12.
12 and a half.
12.
Ah. that works for me. But I mean, because by the same token, they are operating a full business there. But they have got it zoned to a commercial zone, which will cut out a lot of this that we're talking back and forth by. If you have outdoor amplification, you still have to come and see us.
Has to come to the county, no matter what happens.
But, where does that leave us if our decision is that we need them to rezone the area in which they want to do?
Mr. Galloway also knows spot zoning, which would not be allowed.
Correct.
That's correct. If you
Hence
use
why I
a
said
commercial,
agricultural
if you
tourism,
use the
because that's
commercial
specifically
class up
too.
there, yes.
Also, if you have a blanket commercial zoning and no specifications only, it can only be used for this if 10 years down the road, Hernandez's aren't there, and somebody else is there, they could use it for whatever is allowed.
Right.
That's right. So commercial is obviously not something.
Ms. Hernandez, you can go ahead and sit back down. You don't have to stand up there. Thank you.
I just, no, I agree. I think there's a way to get this done, and I don't think it's just home occupancy exception with these variances. I just don't think that's the way to do it. I think it's agritourism.
The route that was done, I assume these requirements came after Mystic Acres. I assume they were a response to Mystic Acres. I wasn't here.
Oh,
I wasn't
yeah.
here then.
I don't know that it was Mystic Acres, David, because they were zoning to C1.
Okay.
There was a request for a rural event center for weddings out toward Line Creek that prompted the text amendment, as best I can recall.
So the code, the standards for that provided the proper route for that. And there again, y'all can vote denial or approval, but this is really the proper route, what is already in the code to allow it to be a special exception. You're not changing zoning. You don't need to change zoning in that area. It allows for it, the 25 acres is a sufficient threshold to separate the super serious people from the not so serious people. There's not so many lots out there that have that amount of acreage on them. So these certain standards here is really the route to take to not rezone, but to also not just allow it on a 4-acre tract or a 2-acre tract or something like that, where you would have too many of them, so.
Well, David, actually, there's a very large piece of property across this road and to the north of it, but it's babysat on two sides fully by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 properties, 8 properties.
Right.
So, I mean,
AT would allow a residence plus things that could be comparable to events, but again, I don't want to just say, okay, go to AT.
Yeah, I don't think we should do that tonight. I agree.
Regardless of what color is on a map, it's going to come down to neighbors and their perception of noise and so on and so forth. Regardless of what zoning it is or whatever. It's gonna come down to some physical realities.
I will say I'm not super worried about noise because everyone's still gonna have to keep up with our noise ordinance. And our noise ordinance isn't a specific decibel level. Our noise ordinance is if I can hear your noise from my yard for longer than 15 minutes, like you gotta knock it off. So,
AT does include a provision that allows, let me double check this. Almost cringe at saying this, a special exception for a facility that includes equestrian events.
Like I said, if you have an AT rezoning hearing, these good citizens here that have concerns about noise are still gonna be here talking about noise and activity. So regardless of what category you put it under, it's still gonna be the same physical realities.
Right. You would potentially eliminate the concern about whether it's a home occupation and the rest, but the event, the facility is still the same, just like you said.
It's semantics versus reality.
I don't think we're ready tonight. I went road for a night.
You're the longest serving commissioner we've got on the board.
A question for the defense attorney.
Okay.
Disorderly house, how would that fall under that, it being a business and then a residence? And I'm sitting here reading through the statutes and stuff, but, just for some examples, using a house as a brothel, dealing, illegal substances, hosting gambling, frequent requests from police services, noise, assault, battery, drinking of intoxicating beverages, illegal drug use. Would the residents be in there, could you use a disorderly house statute, or is it?
That has to take place in the residence, not just on the property. But you can't via zoning make illegal activities legal. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't be like, you can run a brothel there.
I'm just trying to give our ordinance some teeth. I mean, cause right now, like she said, it doesn't have any teeth. I mean, they go out there, they go turn the music down, they turn it down for 5 minutes, and then we had to go back out there 30 minutes later. I mean, it's cause it's.
Well, we could require any events on the property to be done via a business license, like through a business. And then if that business had 3 noise ordinance violations, we just don't renew the business license. And then they.
Right, and that's part of the approval conditions anyway, she would get an annual business license.
So yeah, that's not so much a condition of the zoning.
So, just saying.
I just don't like it in AR1.
If I were the
It doesn't
people
make
that
sense.
lived on, what's that street right there, Boynton, and this were approved, I would just be calling and complaining anyway, so that there would be a record. Now, I don't think that any of these people would be that trifling, but I'm just saying, when we're looking at this, if we're saying, come back in a year, and if there's any complaint, of course there's gonna be complaints. Those of us who didn't want it gonna call and complain. Now, you can't call the sheriff and complain for nothing, but yeah, I mean, in my gut.
You'd
I know
think
that
so.
they have
You'd
the
think
right
that'd
to
be
be able
true,
to
but
do
that's
this.
that's not true. People call the sheriff's office for all the time.
Well, that's what I'm
And
saying, but I'm just saying,
For
if
all
it was me,
kinds of
I would be
crap.
calling, trying to turn people in, because I was trying to get them in trouble.
Yeah. I appreciate you being honest with
Well, tell them the truth.
All right, what's the desire of the board?
It's a no from me in AR1. That it doesn't make any sense to put a commercial facility in AR1 via wave hand special exception. That just doesn't, if this needs to be carved out in AT or come back as a commercial, AR1 doesn't make sense to me.
For me, I have to say also, unfortunately, I would vote to deny this, only because I do consider the neighbors, I put myself in that situation. We put ourselves in that situation. I would not want that either. In where I live, that's not where my intentions were when I moved. So I have to consider the neighbors are actually here to voice their opinions.
Ms. Quinn?
So, I understand that 30 years ago or 20 years ago, people moved here and it was a quiet little haven. But also, 20 years ago, the cell phone was this big. So, stuff changes. And growth in this community is what happens. Just on the strength of David saying that these buildings that are presently there have met the requirements and that they will follow suit and with this game plan, I don't see any reason, I don't see how I can vote against it because we did it for Mystic Acres. And I heavily complained about the people who told me the noise was over there on the backside of Carver Road, all the way up to where our dog park is. You can hear the noise. And they have a right to...
I can't hear it. Where I'm right there. I can't hear this. I can't hear any of that music.
From
No.
Mystic Acres?
No. No, ma'am.
Well, that's good. But I'm just saying, the people on the backside of Carver Road can. Same thing with the pavilion. When they get out there and they start partying, you can hear it. So for us to approve, for me to have voted to approve Mystic Acres and these other folks, to give them a chance, I feel feel like I'm compelled not to. I would have to support it just because we've done it for everyone else and that they have gone in and met the criteria. My expectation will be that, should it be approved, that our inspectors and our planning and development people will make sure that everything that is supposed to be done going forth is done by ordinance. So that would be my answer. I would have to vote to support it. Not happy with it, but I can live with it based on what he's explained to us.
I mean, we also got a unanimous no from planning and zoning. I mean, like, we should support the planning and
No,
zoning.
because planning and zoning make tons of decisions that we have to come back and change because we're not on the same page. So I'm sorry, planning and zoning people, if y'all are listening, my confidence level in the decision-making process for that group is not that high. So, yeah.
Vice Chair?
It's gonna be a no for me. As it's written, I mean, I like the idea, but it's just, the whole way this whole started out, I mean, it's just not right. It's not fair to other people that are opening businesses, and it's just, no.
Okay.
For motion's sake, I'll make a motion to deny.
All right, I have a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor of denying, please raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. And I hate to put Ms. Gwynn in the exact thing. I'm a rule follower, and the rules are pretty well that we should be able to do this, but there are so many rules in there that we're just not working, so I understand that.
So I just hope we don't get sued.
Yes. All right.
You have a variance application that follows, but that's rendered moot by the
Yes.
denial of the special
Right.
exception.
Okay.
That's dead.
Number 6.
I'm getting to number 6. Application 24-34Z, Samantha Langston, 2423 North McDonough Road, Griffin, Georgia, approximately 7.15 acres, located in land lot 112 of the Second Land District. The applicant is requesting a rezoning from R2 Single Family Residential District to AR1 Agricultural Residential to be able to use the property for agricultural purposes.
Do we need to really go into this one, other than approving? Does
They're
anybody,
not here.
motion to approve?
You want to listen to David talk?
You wanna go to AR, man, you're gonna get a yes from
Applicant
me.
is here.
Look, let the man do his job.
Sorry.
All right.
But yes, this is about as simple as rezonings get, going from R2 to AR1. AR1 has more agricultural options than R1 and R2 do, and that's per the applicant here, Ms. Langston was saying in her application, yes.
All right.
I was talking to my husband about this, and he asked me to ask if, like, running a still would be agricultural purposes on the farm.
I mean,
You can
legal
do it in
agricultural
AT.
You can do it in 18?
Okay.
Okay, all right, just wanted to make sure.
That's
because,
agricultural
It
tourism,
says
yes.
agricultural purposes, I just didn't know.
All right. I have a motion
I do
to,
have a second.
and a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Go for it.
5-0. Thank you. Item number 7, application 24-23S, Dusty Davis applicant, 2539 North Expressway, approximately 9.15 acres, located in land lot 102 of the Third Land District. The applicant is requesting a special exception for a semi-truck dealership, community development. David?
Yes, sir. This is where the former Travel World was with RV sales a couple of years ago. Since went out of business. Applicant who is here is planning to have a semi-trailer truck business there, sales, not repairs, just sales at the location.
All right, and you have a whole series of conditions?
Yes, I did. Planning Commission did recommend for approval, back in October, as did staff, so we were in agreement on this one. Should the board choose to approve the application, following minimum approval conditions shall apply. Number one, no parking of vehicles shall occur in the right of way. Number two, approved use is for sales only, no repair garage or truck stop allowed. Number three, there should be planted an evergreen hedge along the front property line approved by Community Development Director prior to planting. And four, any new signage shall conform to the county sign ordinance.
Is the applicant in agreement?
With these- Yes, we had discussed these conditions.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
Wait a minute,
Not for
please.
me.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll make a motion to approve for the purpose of discussion.
All right. Do I have a second?
Is that with the conditions?
Was that?
I'm trying to get to where the conditions are. That's why I was saying for the purpose of discussion. That's the wrong
Last
stuff.
page of the staff report.
She's approving with conditions. I'll second the motion with conditions.
This is 200-foot buffer. I'm assuming that's what it is. No, that's not it.
Does everybody
apologize.
remember?
I'm trying to go
If y'all
through this
remember,
book.
we had the travel place, while she's looking, we had the travel place there. They came in and they asphalted over the
Septic tank.
septic tank. Kelly Wilson from Public Health has come and looked at that and said she's okay with it now to be able to work
It's
it.
currently still operational, yes.
Well, why was we not okay with the other people, but now we okay?
We weren't. That's why we didn't give them their,
They
they
did
asked
it.
for
An expansion.
an expansion, and we said no, and they had already paved some, and we got really upset with them. And then, in fact, you got most upset.
They paved over it without review.
So, but I'm saying, the new owner he has bought this knowing that this area
I doubt
He's
it.
leasing it.
is incorrect.
He's leasing it.
He's
correct.
leasing.
Okay, he's leasing it.
Yes.
Okay, so that means he's not responsible for that if it breaks, if the septic. Okay, so I thought I heard you say something like evergreen.
Edge, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's see, staff recommends approval of the rezoning application, but that the property be rezoned C1B. That's not the one? I swear, Steve, I'm lost in this book. Atlanta Best Auto Auction.
That's the
The one.
current owner's name, yes, ma'am.
Okay, now I'm just trying to find what the conditions are. Staff recommendations, okay. Parked on designated paved areas, not in grass. All site lighting shall be pre-approved, that's been done.
That way, you're probably looking at the older stuff. This is. Okay. I don't have the same page numbers y'all have.
So is there a 200-foot undisturbed buffer zone maintained along the western edge of the parcel? That's the back of the parcel.
Back.
That's correct.
But isn't it already disturbed? I thought they had clear cut it.
They clear cut it, but it has grown back up.
Okay. And where's the retention pond? I thought I heard you say something about evergreen trees or something.
Every
David,
plant,
will you
every
reread the staff recommendations, please?
Please.
Yes, so on mine, on the last page of the staff report here, recommend for approval, number one, no parking of vehicles shall occur within the right of way. Number two, approved uses for sales only, no repair garage, truck stop allowed. Number three, there should be an evergreen hedge along the front property line approved by the Community Development Director. And number four, any new signage shall conform to the county sign ordinance.
So why the requirement for the evergreen hedge?
Just to spruce up the front a little bit, just like the
So it doesn't
Nappi truck dealership across the highway has a nice looking, shrub boundary there where the front entrance is.
Now,
It's
is this in our overlay, North
Yes, ma'am.
Expressway overlay, this requirement for
Yes, ma'am.
shrubbery? Okay, I finally saw it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
I did. read.
4. All those opposed? 1. Application passes, excuse me. Item 8, proposed text amendment to the Spalding County Code of Ordinances, new Appendix N, abandoned cemeteries and burial ground protection ordinance, community development. David Allen?
Yes, sir. So when I first came here back in August, y'all were talking about a cemetery on a subdivision. I forget the name of the road it was on, but there was lots of concerns
Hardy
about the.
Road. Hardy Road.
Okay, Hardy Road. Lots of concerns about the procedure and protection of that cemetery. It worked out, but we had got to talking with the state at that same time and kind of got from the state some. There are state requirements for protecting them, certainly, but we got the impression from the state that it was, as far as them enforcing it, they would look at more larger cemeteries than they would teeny tiny ones.
Like family cemetery.
Correct, yes. They're in the woods all over the place around here in Pike and other counties. But so we decided to have our own local standards for this that would be more responsive. It wouldn't be the state coming down. We would enforce this through our department and code enforcement. So it has in place specific processes and standards for protection of these, if a lot is being developed in the future for a subdivision or a commercial property or something like that, if they come across these. Also a way of eventually over time making an inventory and a map of where these might be as well. So these are just some specific local standards the county could have for these situations in the future.
David, I want to ask you a question. So, the last time I remember someone coming in, maybe about a development or maybe a rezoning, a church had come in and said they had moved, they used to be there, and they had asked, they said, you asked an archaeologist, or I don't know what the name is, to come in and check for these graves. And basically, they stuck a stick in the ground, and if they didn't hit anything, they said it was nothing. So we came back later and we asked them about this ground penetrating
Radar.
Do we think we need that? Because almost certainly, when we get to talking about these cemeteries or burial places, if somebody was there 200 years ago, they were probably buried in a rag, which is, you know what I'm saying? So there must be some way for us to quantify, other than people sticking a stick in the ground and saying, I didn't get nothing back.
Well,
as to whether or not there were people buried there, or there was anything buried there.
it depends on the age, from my understanding with all this. It's not real nice to talk about, but basically anything over like 100 years, you're not gonna find anything anyway. It's gonna be discolored, looser dirt than the surrounding dirt, so that's why they use the probes in that case. So you're not really gonna find anything with radar anyway on these really older cemeteries. So they, based on the probes, they do it at certain intervals and they come out with a pretty accurate boundary for the cemetery. Even though there's probably nothing left at that point, there's still a boundary to be respected for where they used to be, so.
Okay, so I didn't realize that they're, of course, obviously if they're not in a casket, even if it were wooden, it would be disintegrating.
Yeah.
But, I guess what I'm wondering is like when you get to these places and you find Indian burial stuff or arrowheads or something that might have been a keepsake for you, there may not be anything there, but that's where they were buried.
Right.
So yeah, I get a concern about that because, clearly like the people that came in, they felt like some of their relatives or church people had been buried there, and they maybe even knew it. But because we weren't able to prove it, I think we did something that protected
Yes, we did.
that. And this basically covers what we did.
Just like a surveyor, registered surveyor's word is law in a court, the archaeologist, a state certified archaeologist would be the official word in a court too. So, yeah, whatever their report said was the boundaries would be protected.
This,
So,
this is our first reading for this,
Yes.
this ordinance, or this text amendment. I have reached across to some of our adjoining, communities and talked with them specifically about the cemetery and burial protection ordinances. There are a few of my counterparts that are sharing with me that they have implemented a cemetery committee, a countywide cemetery committee that has actually worked quite well within those communities. They don't designate one, they have a group of 5. Most of them have done a tremendous amount of research for historical purposes around the cemeteries. But one of the things that they have reported back to me is that the inventory for the burial sites has increased for their community extensively. So they're taking pictures and they're sending them out to cemeteries.com so that they can be a part of the ancestry portion of their community. I think that's something that you guys should consider as we move this forward, is implementing or including inside of the ordinance, the text ordinance, an opportunity to create a cemetery committee. I think that would be very beneficial
Yeah,
for our
I agree
community.
with that. There are some people who are really fired up about this, and we need to take advantage of that. And Gwen, you're one of those people that really can get fired up about this whole thing.
That cemetery.
My wife is
Okay,
apparently
wait,
watching. My wife's apparently watching. She just texted me and was like, "I want in on a cemetery committee." So
Okay.
And I
apparently
noticed-
I'm for a cemetery committee now.
I noticed in our community work program, you have stuff in there about historic preservation in the next 5 years, and this could go hand in hand with that, so.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a very beneficial opportunity for us. We're right at the right time for that, so we could consider between now and January when we make nominations for our committees, that you could designate someone from each of your districts to be a part of the cemetery committee.
I've apparently got mine already.
Okay.
So this will be
First
a
reading.
committee to create inventory of
Yes.
existing.
Of existing cemeteries and to provide feedback for the Board of Commissioners on how to proceed for developments that are coming in. Hey, we have heard that there's a cemetery in this location. We'd like to be a part of that. And you could engage them to go and do the inspection of the cemetery.
Well, the ultimate goal too would be to, find them and then work with the GIS department to create a map. So when somebody comes in for a development, I go, uh-oh, you got a cemetery right on the border of what you wanna develop, so we gotta go through this process, so.
All right.
The
This is,
inventory map,
this is first reading.
Mr. Chairman, the inventory map would be very useful. Now, keep in mind, between David's draft ordinance and the standards in OCGA for an abandoned cemetery, the archaeological standards are set. So you don't need a cemetery committee for that.
Well, but section 106 does already basically say that the community development is gonna be asked to establish a volunteer historical committee of Spalding County citizens. So that's already included in this.
In this ordinance?
In this ordinance.
All right, this is just first reading, so, all right, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Yes, I haven't really had a chance to read this, I'm just gonna admit it. And I will support it tonight, and if I have any questions,
Oh,
I
before
will
we
address it at the next reading.
Or as you see something, send it to David. All right, any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Okay. Item number 9, 2025 alcohol license. Consider approval of the following new alcohol license application for retail sales of beer and wine for the following: 928 North 9th Street, which has no violations. Consider approval of the following new alcohol license application for retail sale of beer and wine on the following: Nicole Brownlee for Cleveland Food Mart, located at 928 North 9th Street, Griffin. Community Development. David?
So this is an existing, convenience store at 928 North 9th Street. It's come under new ownership, and they want to have alcohol sales there, beer and wine. It has a survey in here, it meets all the distance requirements, nothing came back on the, background check, so everything should be clear with this.
So are there distance requirements? Because there's a church right across the street and there's residences within 50 feet of the side of this store.
Let me get the survey here. Hold on one second. Per the survey, the church is 3,431 feet to 8th Street Baptist.
No. The church is right across the street. I'm trying to pull my map up. The church is located at 847 North 9th Street, and no, that's a house. Yeah, 847 North 9th Street is a church. On the other side of 9th Street from the store.
Okay,
Do we need to table that for them to be able to figure out the distances?
Well, I think, did somebody, what is it, with beer and wine, the requirements are different than if it is liquor.
That's correct.
Beer and wine, there are no
There's no
restrictions.
distance for churches,
That
no,
is
ma'am.
correct.
okay, yeah, that's right.
No reference for distance for churches.
Right, I always
Or
forget that.
residences.
That's
Right.
correct.
That's
We
correct.
struck down the residence.
Man,
That was the state, that's
Yeah.
the distances.
okay.
I always get that confused with the liquor versus the.
All right, do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Item number 12, report of the county manager.
Mr. Chair, I'll make my comments brief this evening in light of the hour. Just wanted to give an update on the former hand lighter property. Did have a conversation with CPL, our architect today. They have completed their scan of the facility and they're moving into the renovation portion where they actually outline what the interior of the facility will look like. Over the course of the next week to week and a half, we will need support from the Board of Commissioners to help us outline what that interior is going to look like. Did have a conversation with Miss Sandra Brownlee today from Waypoint and shared with her that we would be relying on her for some support to share with us what the interior should look like with respect to how they've got the LaGrange facility constructed. I am happy to report that members of the Certified Public Management course that I'm in attendance with have secured bedroom suites, chest of drawers, and other furniture and furnishings. They actually went and picked those items up, and we are providing them with space over at the old food depot over next to the senior center to house those items until such time as we can move them into the facility. We have also been informed that the same hotel chain is now donating the refrigerators and other furnishings, so we will be moving to pick those items up here in the next few weeks. I can't tell you how proud I am to be a part of the program that UGA has put together. The group of 40 that have come together over the last few months have really stepped up, and they are supporting the donation component of outfitting our facility here at no cost to our citizens. So kudos to that group for their support and help.
Kudos to you to make this happen. You're there at the right time, talk about it at the right time. This is you doing it, so big pat on the back that is moving this forward to take care of our veterans, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have this evening.
Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Dutton?
Airport Road Park. We went there last night with my kids. The new facility looks great. The pads are down. The walking track is down. It's really great. My kids loved it. But I looked at some of the playground equipment, and like some of it makes it, yeah, some of it makes sense, and some of it's there's one, the tallest section of it is just
a
unattached,
thing.
and it's just a
I'm not
and
trying to take your stuff.
yeah,
but
and you're
I
like,
was out there with my
what's that
grandson,
for?
like, what?
There's a bunch of like you go to Fairmont and like every bit of it you're like, oh, that's a really cool. I mean, my kids loved it, and they played on the swings, but like I just looked at it and went, we paid for that. Why did we pay for that part? Like, I mean, okay, the slide I get, but there's several,
Okay.
I again,
Yep, county
being
manager will
picky,
get back
but,
with you on it. Yep.
It's kind of our job to be picky when we're picky. And then we had some questions from folks this week about road paving and what we're doing. What's the status of our? We're doing another study for another T-Splosh, right? Like in case in case the citizens approve the next one, right? Like that's already in the works. It's already.
Yes, sir, that's in the
outside.
works. Just as a quick update, since you brought that up, RMS is the company that we've contracted with, that the board contracted with for our next road study. Both of their vehicles were involved in serious collisions 2 weeks ago, and as a result, that project is now 4 weeks behind because it's only taking them 4 weeks to move into 2 brand-new vehicles. So kudos to their team for actually moving quickly. Sad that they were involved in motor vehicle accidents. So we are scheduled to have all of that material completed and back to us by the end of the year.
We're gonna have to go back and talk, so everybody knows right now about T-Splosh, floss, all of that stuff. We're gonna have to sit down, make sure the 5 of us are all square on what we're doing with that. We'll bring Reginald in on it to be able to sit down there to do that.
All the other counties I've spoken to are super excited about going with floss. So I know there was one consideration of, well, if we do it but everyone else doesn't, people will shop elsewhere to. I don't think Georgians are going to have that option. I think it's going to get passed.
All right.
Yeah.
Commissioner Flowers Taylor.
I was at the Airport Road Park. When I went out there, I had called TJ, I don't know, about something. And he told me to give him some feedback. And I did not get a chance to give him feedback. But I had 3 different parents who apparently walk and bring their kids to play that said that the playground equipment, the new equipment, is too small for a 7-year-old. So that those kids that
It
are
was small for my 8-year-old daughter.
yeah,
It was good for
that
my
are
6-year-old.
7, 8, 10-year-old. I don't know if it's a tween lot or we need something different. But there is nothing for those kids that size of play. So we may have to look at trying to add something to that. But other than that, people were raving about
Walkway,
about the walking track and how well it looks, and I think that's good. I wanted to ask TJ to make sure we have put up a yard sign that has the QR code so that people can take the survey to talk about what they want to see happen in leisure services over the next 10 years for the park master plan. I had asked him for some yard signs. I'm going to take them to Food Depot, Kroger, wherever we need to so as people are passing by, they can, see it and hopefully,
Doesn't take long to do,
right.
you know.
And I hate people at Sun City because they so extra. But, Peter Phelps, he's Mr. Workhorse. He has gotten, I think last week, we had maybe like 800 or 900 people. This was last 30. And now, since he got to work, we got about 1,200 surveys in the last 4 or 5 days from Sun City. They be making me sick, but yeah, they do. So my point is, we need to get some other people in the community to do the survey.
1492 as of today.
Sun City,
It's gonna be all pickleball.
recreation. Let me see. Everything else is, I just want to say to you guys, I was really, last week I was trashed, after the election. But I love being able to say that this is how our democratic process works.
Cool.
And somebody has to lose. But I also want people to understand that when we're sitting up here, we shouldn't be black and white. We shouldn't be
Male,
Democrat
female.
and Republican, because at the level that we operate, we don't have that leisure to be able to pick and choose. So I'm very proud of the way this board has worked together. I don't think things are going to change any for us. I hope that they're a lot better. And I'm actually looking forward to the next year coming up and seeing what's going to happen. That's all I got.
Well, thank you. Vice Chair?
Well, I didn't really have nothing to say, but she kind of reminded me. I'd just like to thank all the Spalding County citizens for re-electing me, and I'm excited to spend another 4 years in here with Ms. Gwen.
Well, okay. Everybody should have seen the Narcan training video. It's only 8 minutes. I would suggest everybody get involved, send it to everybody. It is quick, easy to be able to do that, and it will save some people's lives. First step, in my opinion, just Clay Davis's opinion, if you've got an issue, call 911, let them talk you through, whether this is AED, whether this is Narcan. Most of us can't figure out the difference in some cases. Gwen can do that, but if you don't know, call 911, they'll lead you through what to do. And we're putting Narcan in our buildings around. You saw the note from Steve about authorities, boards, committees. Everybody start getting out, start trying to figure out. I'd like to make a comment to everybody. We're trying to get those places to go where we want them to go. Putting somebody on it that is not moving in that direction doesn't help us. I know that there's a tendency to do that, but we need to put the people on that are moving in the direction we're trying to go in. I'd like to talk about future meetings right now to make sure we're all square. As I see the future meetings, 5 December is the next P&Z. I'm looking to make sure. All right.
Correct.
We've got no P&Z in December.
That's correct.
We've got
Except for the one that's December the 5th.
yes, no P&Z for us. Yes. All right. We've got the 2nd of December is our next Board of Commissioners meeting.
It's a workshop and the regular session.
December 2nd?
December 2nd. And right now, there is a discussion on the 16th of December. Are we having a meeting on the 16th?
Oh,
Yep. It's it would be December the 16th is the recommendation for the extraordinary session for the Board of Commissioners.
Now, do we want to have, that's the reason I'm bringing it up is to make sure that we're all square on 16 December.
Oh, yeah, it's far enough out from Christmas that there's no justification for us not having that idea.
I'll be out of the country. I won't be here.
Okay?
Mr. Chairman, just so you know, all those things on December 5th, I advertised for January. So you will not have that mammoth December 16th meeting.
Yay.
So,
We will have a mammoth January meeting. Yes.
so no P&Z from now until January.
Okay.
Everybody's got that? All right. I'd like to make a comment to the citizens. I've noticed looking through when people call me about taxes, please, if you're a homestead, see about your homestead exemption. There are a ton of people who are not understanding how homestead exemptions work. They're not getting, all of a sudden I find out, no, didn't know I was supposed to do that. This is part of what you're authorized to do. If you don't understand it, get to the tax commissioner's office. They'll help you guide through. You can see it on your tax bill, and then on the back page, it'll talk to you about what you're supposed to be able to do that. So if you don't know about it, please take the time to look through it, get your tax exemptions. It means, in some cases, fairly significant money to be able to do that. Last comment is happy Thanksgiving to everybody before we come back again. I'm excited about where we are. As Gwen has said, I'm very pleased with how we're working together and being able to talk and work through and say, I thought it was yes, but now it's no when I've listened to it. So I appreciate that ability to do that. All right. With let me go around. Attorney.
No, sir. They don't
Doctor?
wanna say nothing.
Get ready to go home, folks.
Adjourn.
Do I have a
Motion to adjourn.
any more discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand.
That was like a fight vote.